and Politics.
Hold on. Me speak. Okay, we're good. That's what you have to do when it's real, when it's uncut, when it's produced by yourself in the middle of the night, no one else is in the house to go check, like, hey, is my audio coming through? This is how you have to do it. I'm here vibing currently with my baby daughter off camera. She's producing and vibing and playing Toca Boca. Okay, it's not Toca Boca. Yeah, it's Avatar World. Okay, Avatar World. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. But we're in here. It's a late night. We're vibing together. We just figure we might as well come in here and
Sit and
Politic. Go ahead and say Sit and Politic into the mic for me one time, baby. This is the real thing.
Sit and Politic.
That's right. That's real and live ad libs. So we are in the building. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. We're going to talk about Epstein's list. Who, what, where? When will it be found? It's not going to be found. They came out. Trump's admin went ahead and told us there was no list, guys. The same people that for over 5 years now have been saying, we're going to get the list. We're going to release the list. Shit, over the last few months have been saying, listen, I've seen all the stuff. We're going to release it for sure, boys. Just wait and see. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about the America Party, which I guess it's official that it's established by Elon Musk. So we'll dig into that. Do we think it's a good thing? Do we think it's a horrible thing? Is it going to be good for America and an extra party being actually taken serious? Obviously, anybody into politics knows, we've had several parties represented, but not with the kind of cash flow that we're talking about when you're bringing Elon Musk into the mix. So how much of a difference is that going to make? We'll see. I'm excited to chop it up on that. And we got to talk about Drake. What did I miss? The single drop. We've been talking about politics nonstop. And I've been telling you guys on this show, I like to talk about all different stuff, but it feels weird, like talking about, trades that happen with your favorite sports team when on the same day you're talking about people being like kidnapped and sent to other countries and shit. It just, unfortunately, it takes precedent over the good shit, the happy shit. Just if you guys missed me talking about it, Minka Fitzpatrick comes back to the Dolphins. I wanted to talk about that. But then the same day that I'm going to talk about that, it's like, hey, we're cutting Medicaid. It's like, well, fuck, I got to talk about, I'm a total fucking fraud if I come on here and I, spend an hour and a half gleefully talking about Minka Fitzpatrick. And then in reality, there's other shit going on. But what did I miss? So we're going to get into that those today, regardless of everything I just said. Forget everything I just said. We're actually going to make time for the bullshit. It's 2 a.m. where I'm at. So we're going to talk, what did I miss? Is it the end of Drake? Was the elimination of Drake successful? Did it happen? I'm not sure about that. I don't know. We got to get into it. Do you guys know how I'll get into it more in depth when we get to that point of the show? But just so people know at the front, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. If you guys watched at the time, I had some conflicting feelings on the Kendrick Lamar shit. Liar. All right, Blake. Thank you, brother. Or bloke. All right, shout out to you. I don't even know what I lied about already. I'm just saying what I'm going to talk about. But thank you for hopping in the comments. I appreciate it. It's late, so any boost to the algorithm will do. Type liar in the comments about 50, 70 more times. I appreciate it, bloke. And then Monday Night Raw. We got to get into Monday Night Raw as well. So as I said, this is a show where I'm going to try to make some time for more of the bullshit. It's late. We have fucking golems in the chat like bloke. So it's probably not the best time to sit here and talk about all the crazy going on in the world. It's a good time to talk about some bullshit and then sprinkle in a little bit of maybe bloke, maybe I judged you too soon. Maybe we're calling the Trump admin, or maybe we're saying that they're liars because they literally did lie. So maybe I judged you too soon. I'm leaving that open. I'll leave that wide open for you to redeem yourself, brother. Other than that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, boost the algorithm for your boy, get this out to more people, get it in front of more people. And we'll keep on doing what it does, man. Find me at Sit and Politic everywhere. Sit and Politic on all platforms. Sit and Politic with the Kid on Instagram. Contact me directly. Let me know how you feel about the show, about what you feel like I should be touching on, maybe some good videos. That's something next show I'm definitely anticipating. I got to sprinkle back in some of those good Instagram videos. I don't know if you guys liked it, but I enjoyed it. You know, I like a little bit of time, just scroll through the Instagram. I came to Instagram late in my life. And one of the big things for the podcast that really personally like is a hindrance to me is I hate fucking social media, honestly. Like, I like getting on here and talking about whatever we're going to talk about. I like having debates with people. But it's like social media, it's a lot of fucking asshats like bloke here that just hop in here really to say some fucking substanceless fucking bullshit. What is he even talking about, right? So that part of it I don't love. I like having the actual, you know, just the real conversation, really digging into shit past surface level, and getting to know how people think and why they think that way. So I'm respectful to that. And if anybody, by the way, aside from just hopping in the comments and sharing this thing with anybody that likes anything, I know you know somebody out there that likes something. So I talk about all of it. So if we can find that thing, you know, that person that likes wrestling, I'll talk about it. It's up here in the title for me. That's why I'm moving my hand around like a weirdo. If people like hip hop music, I talk about hip hop music, and these are things that I've loved my entire life. I have a little bit of an expertise on these topics. And then if they like to talk about the real shit, that is something that obviously we never ignore here and don't shy away from those kind of conversations. I think people like the people that may be watching this show and just peers and things like that I know. There is a point where I think you have to have that kind of political activation and understand that the people that are supposed to be involved in these things, you can't just sit on the sidelines always and just complain about it. You got to get active at whether it be in the conversation or whether it be through activism or, you know, whatever kind of supporting, campaigning, whatever your way of doing that is, it's fine. But a lot of times it doesn't just happen to where you realize like, oh, okay, now I'm at the point to where it's like the politicians, the people that work in your government buildings, the officials, those are, you know, my peers and things like that. So it's like we have to hold them to account and also get involved ourselves. So, and I support that with anybody that's watching. And either way, so also just so you know, guys, reactions, we're doing a Piers Morgan reaction, them shitting their pants about Mamdani in New York City, having a whole show about it and fucking just literally shitting their pants out the bottom of their legs. And then we have TYT, them fucking, it seems like every time I tune in for the Young Turks, and I'm not I wouldn't say like I'm an avid viewer of the show, but it's like anytime I do tune in, they're just bitching about how much their audience thinks they're wrong and how much their audience disagrees with them, which isn't so much a horrible thing to have an audience that disagrees with you. It's more of a, like, I don't know, not that you are wrong either in that instance, but it's like you just really have to take an account of everything and the audience that you've kind of nurtured. And you know, how did you get to this point, and how is there so much of a divergence between audience especially at the point of TYT, which, I mean, they're super established. They've been one of the loudest voices for liberal news and liberal kind of like editorializing on the news, definitely in the online space. So it's like to see the break between them and their fans. I mean, in this America Party, I think that's actually one of the several kind of connections that I think could be really pivotal for the identity of this America Party and these kind of like platforms. But like TYT, for example, if TYT ends up taking the opportunity to align themselves, if they're going to say like, hey, the Democrats, they don't represent the will of the people, and we just can't continue to support the party. Anna Kasparian has already had this kind of, you know, moving away from the left to a degree. Although I agree with a lot of Anna Kasparian's points, and I feel like she's pretty fucking reasonable. It's just like at the end of the day, if she is, it's like, it's a lot of times I think the most extreme time period that we had with the left ended up pushing a lot of people away because the extreme voices were so loud. And the extreme voices really steered and dominated the conversation that would have as far as like the political discourse on that side of the aisle. And it just turned a lot of people away. You have to think most people are not extremists. That's what extremist means. It's attached to the name. So it's like on the other end with conservatives, you have a lot of times the conversation from their perspective, at least recently, and I think this is a smart thing, it's dominated by the most moderate, version of their ideology. You have these, I guess not with Trump, but you have this kind of like idea that, oh, we're not going to lean into the Christian nationalism and like this kind of shit. When in reality, it is actually maybe at least as pervasive as the woke ideology was. So, I just think that's really interesting kind of dichotomy between where the one is very out front and maybe actually has less influence over the actual politics, meaning the identity politics on the left. It's very to the forefront and it feels like it dominates the conversation. And it does, in all honesty, in a way to distract from any kind of like real economic progressivism. And I mean, that's the whole kind of undermining and of Bernie Sanders and his movement originally was to move the party in a direction where there's more of a focus on identity politics, and then you never have to actually support the movement. You know what I mean? Like, as far as like the true movement that I think brings the entire side together, as far as like an actual economic policy that is progressive, that supports people that are disenfranchised. It supports those groups that we do feel like, don't get enough attention in this way or that way. Like that becomes remedied in a way through addressing it through the lens of class and just uplifting the poor. And that not being a negative thing, like honestly, like anybody that was rich or anybody that's rich and came from being poor, like you shouldn't see it as if it's like it's an unfair thing to you. You've already pulled yourself up, and that's amazing. We want to try to give the best odds for people that are coming from your economic background, the best chance to be successful. This guy right here, this fucking one thing I do want to point out. This is one reason this is kind of funny, but also this guy's an absolute cunt piece of shit. Is because this motherfucker right here is talking about absolutely nothing. Wasn't even talking about whatever I was talking about. But I mean, if you're a person coming into the show at this point and you're just seeing this fucking cunt bag, matter of fact, actually, let's just fucking ban him. It feels good to ban him. I think we got to ban people more often. It's like you come in here and you comment on some shit and you're not even commenting on the shit that I'm talking about. So it's like you're fucking completely trying to just undermine because you're a fucking hapless cunt. Bored, which I get. Shit, I hopped on here because I was bored. So I mean, I'm not mad at people hopping on here because they're fucking dying of boredom, but don't come on here just to be a fucking cunt. Like, you could have hopped on here so we could, I bullshitted by starring the comment. Just being a nice guy. There's no star for you, brother. No star for you and burn in hell. All right, so let's see. What do we want to get in first? I don't know how this is really going to work because this is a later stream than what I usually would do. So I don't know exactly what to expect. So I think we can open it up with one of the longer videos, probably the Mamdani video here. So just to give you guys a quick rundown, this is Piers Morgan. He has some guests coming on. Like I said, the entire right side of politics in New York they're shitting their pants. They have fucking diaper ass right now because they're just unloading in their pants right now. Because Mamdani, and which is just amusing. Now the extra funny part of this is also in liberal politics. You have Bill Ackman openly saying he'll fund any candidate that could possibly beat any left candidate that could possibly beat Mamdani, which is fucking just comical to me. Like, it's like just a blank check because of how terrified they are based off of, I mean, in all honesty, in my opinion, what I think are moves to the left and moves to a more progressive financial policy, but they're like incremental fucking moves. It's like free buses. I mean, is that a radical concept to say, hey, maybe let's go ahead and have free buses around the city to really encourage everybody to be able to engage in commerce in our city, and also get jobs everywhere, so on and so forth. But it's like mainly so they can go everywhere and go spend money at the businesses. So it's like, I don't know why there's such a crazy recoil to that. The free school lunches, like that's just a fucking no-brainer. Like this is just shit that, like, is there any real push from a significant portion of conservatives that warrants taking a hard line stand against free lunches? Honestly, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there, because there's people out there that feel like, hey, we shouldn't pay any taxes. Fuck all of it. But in reality,
do you have celebrity hall passes? If so,
for later. That's Freak Bayless. Freak Bayless talking to his wife about hall pass. That was a little sneak preview on accident, so you guys got to see that. That was the air conditioning. Yeah. But yeah, so that's a little bit of a sneak preview. I'm gonna get into that towards the end, because it's just literally it's just a funny topic. I don't care if he fucking pimps his wife out. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. I mean, if Diddy got let free, then I say let Freak Bayless freak off. Freak Bayless needs to be invited to the first Diddy fucking freak off. Freak Bayless and Ernestine, whatever the fuck his wife's name is. Go ahead and bring him through like a Make-A-Wish kid. And he can finally just go ahead and hand his wife over to LeBron James, like he always has dreamed of. Dark turn, but we will get there, and I'm sure I'll talk about that all over again. But let's go ahead and get into this Mamdani video. Mamdani, Piers Morgan reaction. Let's get into it. I gotta grab my headphones, actually. Hey, give me these headphones, baby. Hey, let me get those headphones. Yeah. Hey, it's real. It's uncut. Completely produced by your boy. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Help boost the algorithm. Help me get around in front of all these other people's faces, so we can create more of an immaculate vibe than anybody's ever seen before. And I can hear myself coming through extra crispy. Let me go ahead and get
Politic.
Yeah, sorry if I blew your fucking eardrums out. That's my bad, guys. But if it makes you feel any better, I blew my own eardrums out just now. So I'm not sure if I'm going to hear this reaction, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
I don't think that we should have billionaires.
Do I see him as an enemy of America?
Yeah.
What he's saying? You're damn right I do. I think he's going to destroy New York City. This guy becomes mayor, the city is gone.
Deeply bigoted, and that's what Rudy Giuliani was. Bigoted nonsense, total trash. You ignore every lie he just said.
I'd like to say Rudy Giuliani's been listening and actually didn't really want to leave us, so we've got Rudy back. Rudy, welcome back.
Who the fuck is worried about Rudy Giuliani? That's the thing. When you say that, do you expect people to be like, oh no, you're going to bring Rudy Giuliani back on the show, and I'm not going to be able to tell him to his face that he's a piece of shit, scumbag, fucking racist, cunt, whore? Yeah, easily. I'd actually be like, oh great, he's here. So he heard that, and I can say it again. Like, what the hell? Just funny how he said that.
Almost 8 months on from the presidential election, and it's still unclear who is leading the Democrats and whether they'll campaign from the center, the left, or the very, very left. Well, Zohran Mamdani may offer a clue. He's a charismatic Muslim socialist who doesn't believe billionaires should exist, and he just won a stunning victory in the Democratic primary for mayor of New York City, the biggest in the United States. Some of his policies are already raising eyebrows.
We went on your website and realized there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed.
Okay, so real quick, because I've talked about the Mamdani shit a few times, so I want to be fair here. I personally think that framing of it is absolutely fucking retarded. And I think that Mamdani, whoever wrote this for his website or whatever, this kind of framing of it, absolutely fucking bonkers, stupid as hell. Like, I can't even begin to describe how fucking retarded this kind of verbiage is in this kind of like campaign speak, on your website. If you're trying to appeal to the largest group, which by the way, the largest group are these white people, why the fuck would you frame it in that way when it's completely unnecessary? It's completely unnecessary to frame it as we're going to tax more white people. So completely fucking dumb for him to do that. So, I mean, this is the thing. We can be fair about the criticisms of his policy without people saying that he's like waging a fucking jihad on New York City, or people saying that, yeah, I mean, literally the fucking that he's waging a jihad on New York City. I think that's enough, right? Just to cite that is enough to really like cover and really portray the level of racism that we're talking about. People talking about fucking New York has fallen just because there's somebody who is Muslim. Now, it's not really that. I think that's bullshit. I think they're using that to appeal to stupid racist people. So really the reason is his politics. They're afraid of his socialist politics and then being successful in New York City, in my opinion, and then, you know, them seeming as if they are going to be more advantageous for the general American citizens across the country. And I think that is what they're really afraid of. And that's this crazy like uniparty defense that they put around this entire scenario, where they're just smearing him as a fucking terrorist. So it's like I think that's obviously what's happening here. And then, like I said, I don't think that these, although they probably are racist, but I doubt that's their main concern here. I think their main concern is just their politics, his politics, and that's one thing for them to smear him quickly to all the stupid people that support their side of politics. So we'll go ahead and get back into here though and see what they got to say about it. But just to be clear, like with that, if I was on Piers Morgan's show here, I would say that's just fucking dumb. Why not just say that you're going to, you know, you're looking for the rich to pay their portion, and even if you want to say to take on more of the tax burden, I think you can even put it like that, the rich. And guess what? Like that's going to disproportionately affect, like he's saying here, it's going to disproportionately affect these white neighborhoods. But you don't have to say as if like, oh, we're going to put the burden on the white neighborhoods. It's just the rich neighborhoods generally. So it's like completely divisive wording that is just a shot in the foot to the campaign. Because up until this point, mainly what they've been able to smear him on are things of like just imaginary jihad, that he's imaginarily like this fucking racist jihadist that wants to overthrow New York City because he wants to be mayor, a total reasonable fucking thing. And then like his picture of him fucking dancing at his fucking halal cart or whatever the fuck. It's like they really had nothing of substance to smear him with. And then he just gives it to him by putting some dumb shit on his website. Honestly, what probably happened is the people that they wanted to fund, they're like, how about, okay, so we could fund somebody to run against them, or we could just fucking pay for some people to go work for him and fucking shit up like that.
Well, the backlash has been swift and in some cases,
Or
let's face it, racist. Congressman Andy Ogles called him Little Muhammad, while Nancy Mace accused voters of, quotes, forgetting 9/11, close quotes. Marjorie Taylor.
Like that crazy shit. Look at this post. Holy fuck. Look at this post. These posts were everywhere. I mean, good God. Calling him Muhammad. And these are people who are like officials of the government. These are not just trolls on the internet. These were what like officials were saying to their base, just literally throwing gasoline on the fire of fucking racism. This is the kind of shit. So it's like where I completely disagree with the verbiage on the website, and I think it's despicable, to be honest. This was equally as disgusting. I mean, what the fuck?
Green posted a picture of a Statue of Liberty in a burqa before later praising him in an interview with Tucker Carlson.
That guy was the only person in the New York City mayor's debate to say he wanted to focus on New York City. All the candidates were asked, if you could visit a foreign country, what would it be? And they, of course, all had an answer. I think most said Israel. Great. And he said, I wouldn't go anywhere. I'd stay in New York. And like, if I want to meet Jewish constituents, I go to their synagogues, their homes or whatever, but I'd be here in New York because that's what I'm doing. I'm running New York. That's my job.
Well, he gave the right answer.
He gave the right answer.
Yeah.
Well, Eric Adams, who was elected as a Democrat but is running as an independent, accuses Mamdani of, quotes, embracing Hamas, close quotes. What's most revealing, though, is the icy reception from serving senior Democrats, including the current House leader and the New York governor.
Let's start with the big news, Leader Jeffries, out of your hometown. Mamdani won a big victory. Have you endorsed him yet?
I have not. And frankly, stylistically, and I'm not a socialist, and I don't associate myself with what he has said about the Jewish people.
Will you support his candidacy and will you back him?
You know, the election just completed. I had a chance to call and congratulate him on the Tuesday's primary and look forward to having conversation. Obviously, there's areas of difference.
Well, 10 years ago, the UK's Labour Party ran a very left-wing campaign which saw them walloped in the general election. They responded by appointing Jeremy Corbyn as a leader, a radical elder socialist who, funnily enough, was ousted in an anti-Semitism scandal. The bottom line is that the Democratic identity crisis is no closer to a resolution now than it was on November the 5th. Meanwhile, President Trump is racking up win after win after win, and the left has nobody to burst his balloon. So the biggest winner in the current DNC civil war is probably MAGA. In a moment, we'll debate all this with my panel, founder and CEO of the Young Turks, Cenk Uygur.
Maybe this little tiny like spat that they're having, MAGA wins out on this, but don't get it twisted. MAGA's getting their shit pushed in every single day. They're getting shit on. Like the entire base is getting shit on by the people that are leading the movement, and they're completely going against everything that MAGA, quote unquote, was supposed to represent. So all those kind of auxiliary pieces of MAGA, not the fucking cultists who would let fucking Trump bust one right in their eye if asked. I'm talking about the people that were like, hey, Kamala's not the right answer. I mean, really, that anti-Kamala voters, people who just anti-war voters, period. Like, I understand that being a huge sticking point, and I get why people felt like just continuing along Biden's policies was going to be just lead to exactly what we're still getting, which is endless wars, endless conflict, and not pulling us. I mean, one thing I will say, I don't have a lot of praise for Trump, obviously, and I don't have much praise around the Gaza or Israeli thing, but at least, I mean, it does seem as if that's going to be hopefully forced to draw to a close soon, based off all the hostilities with Iran. I still think that the damage is done. They've already completely devastated that area and ethnically cleansed most of it. But the reality is that, you know, at least there seems to be some kind of, just based off Trump being impatient, some level of urgency to bring it to a close at some point. So I am hoping to see that, but let's go ahead and get back into this. Cenk Uygur,
News Nation correspondent Geraldo Rivera, and the former DNC fundraiser Lindy Lee. But first, to give us plenty to debate, I'm sure I'm joined by the former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani. Rudy, great to have you back on Uncensored.
Good to see you, Piers.
Your reaction to this character who's come out of nowhere, and now the whole of America is talking about him. What's your response to Mamdani mayhem?
A total shock. Something I never thought I would see in New York. New York has always been a little bit more inclined to be reasonable when necessary. I mean, we're the only one of these crooked Democratic cities that at any time in the last 60 or 70 years has elected a Republican. Chicago, 70 years of Democrats. Detroit, I mean, you've had me, LaGuardia, Bloomberg. They don't have anything like that. No reform, nothing. So plus we're the biggest Jewish city.
I hate when he does this shit, when he introduces like all the guests and he's like, okay, so you guys just sit there and shut the fuck up and wait and watch me do an interview now.
For a while, he was the biggest Jewish city in the world. I think Tel Aviv has now passed us. So this is a shock to me that
more
somebody
Jews
like
in New
this
York
would come along. And it isn't even just the anti-Semitism and the anti-Jewish hate. We've almost gotten used to it in the streets of New York now over the last 2 to 3 years. This guy is a major supporter of Hamas. This is a terrorist group that wants to destroy not just Israel, they want to destroy America. Their children are taught from about 2 years old, death to Israel, death to America.
To be anti what Israel's doing, and even not to not be a supporter of Israel, is not to just full on make you a supporter of Hamas. I would say I'm fully in the camp of anti everything Israel's about and doing right now. I would not classify myself as somebody who's pro-Hamas at all under any circumstance, and can still look at things that they did like on October 7th and otherwise and say they're a horrific regime as well. But it's the opposite side that's unwilling to criticize Israel. It's not, I mean, there are some people on the side of, you know, in the anti-war side that won't criticize Hamas. I have seen that, but that's a way more rare position than the people that are completely complicit in everything Israel's doing and support it. And things like what we saw with Ted Cruz, fucking, we must support them at all costs. Just crazy Crazy shit.
But Rudy, where has he expressed any support for Hamas? Because
thank you. I'm glad, because I didn't know if he was going to actually question him on that. So that's why
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I mean, he was by and large, he wouldn't condemn what they did when they wiped out the Israeli people. He has refused to condemn them. He refuses to acknowledge they're a terrorist group. Every time he's asked, he just kind of punts on the question. He has very.
So no proof. Just the lack of proof that he's a complete Israel cuck and sellout is proof.
Very, very strong statements that sound a lot like Hamas, Intifada forever, Intifada all over.
Globally, this guy's fucking, his brain is rotted. I'm sorry. I know Rudy Giuliani was a lawyer and all this kind of shit, and he's not a complete fucking just dumbass. But let's be honest, age catches up to us all. It's even caught up to me a little bit, and he's much my senior. So I'm just gonna point this out. This man can barely even keep his like a train of thought here, and he's also completely wrong. He's just out here spewing talking points. Mamdani never said the global intifada or whatever. He was asked about that, as far as I know. Now, people can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But he never said that's something that he said. I want to say he said that's something that I wouldn't say, but he just wouldn't condemn people that use that kind of language, which I think is fine, because there's plenty of people on college campuses or so on and so forth that hold strong beliefs, and maybe some of the verbiage that they use, it's really strong to really like to really hammer their point home. But in all honesty, yeah, it's just so that, I mean, that's the reason. It's like, but to take that and then weaponize that which is what we're seeing Rudy Giuliani doing. He's trying to weaponize it in a way to completely get you to shut your brain down and not consider all the other things that are in your best interest that he's also fighting for, like rent control, like these things that are actually way more material and actually benefiting the people of New York City. Things like rent control, things like trying to drive down the price of groceries by state-ran grocery stores, which may or may not work. I don't know. I've read some about them trying that in like Kansas and it working, and I've also obviously heard a lot of talk of people that are like, it doesn't work. You're leading straight to your population starving to death, or you're undermining private grocery stores and things like that. So I think there's a real conversation to have on some of these things, but it gets complete because it's harder to have those conversations. Rudy Giuliani here, whose brain is like applesauce at this age, he's not interested in having those conversations or even actually investigating the talking points that he's using. And I'll get back to the video because I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit.
The world, and then he tries to claim that he has his own definition of intifada. You know, sorry, Zohran, you're not entitled to your own definition of intifada. They've killed about 8,000 people. That kind of sets a definition for it. We know what you're talking about. So I think you could put together a case.
I could shit on that.
He supports an internationally acknowledged terrorist group that is a close ally of Iran. I mean, remember, although one is Sunni and the other is Shia, and they hate each other, Iran and Hamas, they join on two things: destroy Israel, destroy America. Death to America, death to Israel. That's what brings Iran and Hamas together.
But really, why if you believe he's so, the way you've just categorized, why are so many New Yorkers in a city, as you said, which has more Jews outside of Israel than any city in the world, why would they have rallied behind this guy if he's such an enemy of Jewish people?
Well, Piers, that's a very good question. It leads me to what's wrong with the people of my city. What's wrong with the people of Chicago?
Why, they're wrong and I'm right.
Chicago. I mean, they had a mayoral primary a couple of years ago, and they picked the most outrageous, the most radical, and the dumbest candidate for mayor, who's now a complete disaster. And they've been doing it for 65 years, even though they're a shooting gallery every Saturday night. There's a brainwashing that has taken place in these old Democrat cities. It's the same reason why you'll go into some districts in New York and Biden got 95% of the vote. How could that have happened if the people are thinking clearly? How do we elect de Blasio? De Blasio went to Cuba on his honeymoon. He was in favor of the Sandinistas, and his mother was a member of the Communist Party at Harvard. And then after his first term, he was a complete failure.
This is my problem with Piers. He barely pushes back. He'll give them a little bit of pushback, then he just gives them a fucking 5-minute runway. And only people that really get this kind of leeway on this show is people like fucking Rudy Giuliani, you know, who get to come on here and just spew absolute garbage. And so where did he say that he supports Hamas? I never saw that. Oh, but yeah, well, he did on a show one time, and people can't have their own fucking meanings for words. And well, okay, why do most people in New York that are Democrats, why do they want this guy to be the representative? Well, they're all wrong and I'm right, obviously. Give an actual fucking argument for anything that you're saying.
We had a 22% turnout and we reelected him. And he's the one who really destroyed the city.
They elected you.
He literally took everything Bloomberg and I did and trashed it. I get people that come up to me on the street crying and saying to me, "You must feel awful. Everything you did was ruined."
But Rudy, when you have a Muslim candidate in a city like New York, and people start evoking 9/11, start putting burqas on the Statue of Liberty and all the stuff I played earlier, does that not make you feel uncomfortable? New York is one of the most inclusive cities in the world.
And if you're gonna, to his point, if you're gonna have somebody who is a Muslim representative, and we have Muslim representatives in other places and all that, it's like, why wouldn't it be New York City? Of all the places in the fucking country, why wouldn't New York City be one of the places that would make sense to be representative of the population? Come on.
Right, a place normally that's very tolerant to many different religions, many different colors and creeds, right? Surely you would feel uncomfortable. As
He'd look at him. He took his glasses off like an old Italian man to say, "Piers, we're racist as hell. What are you talking about? New York City is the most racist place on the fucking planet, Piers."
New York, when that appalling terror attack happened, are you comfortable that people use 9/11 as a stick to?
It reminds me of the old New York City, Piers. I love it.
Nobody's doing that, Piers.
Well, they are.
I was the people who protected the Muslim people after 9/11. People expected a tremendous amount of reaction against them. And Bernie Kerik and I put together a task force for 4 weeks, and there was no attack in New York, not a single one, even though you might have expected one, given the kind of emotion involved. And
even though it would have been completely reasonable for people to do so.
One of the first things I said as I was telling my people to please be careful and watch out, it might be another attack, is do not touch anybody. We're not going to be like them. We don't hate Muslim people. We hate the people who did this. And we have to make it clear to them that we can stand up to them. But then again, I'm not a fool. I know there are a substantial number of Muslims.
He introduced like 3 other guests
out of the Quran
before
that
this
talks about slaughtering Christians and Jews. And there's a whole group of Muslims who believe that. And unfortunately, an undetermined number of them got into this country in the last 4 years, unlike any other time in our history, because of our pathetic President Biden.
Did Mamdani come here in the last 4 years? Like, even though look at this fucking psycho and where I paused it. Probably at any point, if I'd have paused it, it'd been something very similar. But listen to the dishonest argument. They are preying on your inability to think critically. And I'm not saying this to anybody that's watching or anything like that, but that is who this is for. I hope you're not watching if you're one of those people. But it's like, honestly, all the talking points and bullshit that he's spewing, it is meant to prey on people that are low information voters. Like, I mean, think about what he's saying. He's asking him a question about the response to Mamdani, and he's talking about fucking 9/11, how he protected Muslims. I guess that's obviously not true, but whatever. And then there's many stories of Muslims being treated like absolute dog shit through the period after 9/11, and where you can point at the reasoning, it's something to look back on as a total failure to our American values, to be honest. And failure to our American values to not look at this person who is just a Muslim American. Why can't he be a mayor? Of course he should be able to be a mayor. Like, it's fucking insane. If it is the will of the people that he be that.
Also gave Iran hundreds of millions of dollars, and Obama did it in cash.
But
So
would
I don't
you
know
have a
what's going
problem,
on.
Rudy? Would you have a problem with a Muslim mayor of New York? Tax day has passed, but for millions of Americans, that's where the trouble begins. The IRS is now ramping up enforcement for those who pressure.
Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes for real, guys.
Smooth, not the IRS.
Like Piers is saying, make you pay your shit.
Not if he told me he would write out the portion of the Quran where Mohammed is exhorting the people to kill Christians and Jews, and telling him if he doesn't kill them, they should get tribute from them. If he's like some of the imams that I'm close to who can write that out and can say that, I'd be very comfortable with him. If he's dominated by that sick pathological philosophy, which dominates not all Muslims, but more than a comfortable amount, given all the killing they've done, then I have a real problem with it. And he doesn't sound like a moderate Muslim. He sounds like a Muslim extremist.
You said, Rudy, that you think there may need to be an investigation to see if Mamdani is an enemy of America. Is that the kind of language that is sensible? You said, Mr. Benny Johnson.
I didn't mean an investigation criminal. I meant for the purpose of voting. You and I should do the investigation as voters.
Do you really see him as an enemy of America?
Do I see him as an enemy of America?
Yeah.
What he's saying? My personal.
Yes.
You're damn right I do. I think he's going to destroy New York City. I think this is a disaster time for New York City. This guy becomes mayor, the city is gone. People are leaving the city already. You can't say things like the things he's saying and not frighten the hell out of people. I mean, it has nothing to do with even 9/11. Had 9/11 not happened, he'd be an enemy of the city. He's espousing a philosophy that wants to destroy America, wants to destroy the Jewish people, wants to destroy the Christian people, and really would like to destroy all the Muslims who disagree with them. And he is a very strong supporter of that, and he doesn't make a distinction. And he becomes very cute and stupid and silly. Plus, he's totally unqualified. He's a 33-year-old do-nothing from a rich family who's never accomplished a damn thing in his life. Whenever we've gotten a mayor like that.
Based off of what? What is that? Just like, what are you basing that off of? And also, like I said, he conflates this situation where you have, the immigration into America, this mass migration or whatever. So something that he knows is already a effective talking point for Americans in general, but specifically conservative Americans who he's really talking to. So he conflates that when Mamdani came to America when he was like 7 years old. So it's like that just already kind of lays out the dishonest kind of argument that he's making. And I don't know the specifics of his background. But as far as to call him a fucking do nothing or whatever he just said, as far as I know, he was a counselor that specialized in like preventing foreclosures and things like that. I mean, I think that's a noble thing to spend your life or spend a portion of your life doing, and also probably gives you a great insight into the challenges of working class people and specifically the living arrangement kind of challenges that people face. So, like I said, this is not. I mean, he's saying he comes from a rich family, which I think is most fucking people that are in this position that we're talking about. A lot, it's centered around a lot of nepotism and, who and fucking those kind of like dealings, and people being anointed into positions, not based off of merit or anything like that, but based off of who's funding them and who has their back as far as that goes financially.
He's been a terrible failure, like de Blasio. This guy's not an accomplished man. He's a rich kid who has learned excessive, crazy philosophy so that he can sound smart, I think. That's the best explanation I can give of him. Yeah. It might be worse.
Rudy Giuliani, always good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Thanks, Piers. Good to see you. You look great.
Thank you. So do you. Let's debate this now with Cenk, Geraldo, and Lindy. Well, Cenk, you were putting a lot of faces there. What did you make of what Rudy Giuliani said?
Yeah, your audience should ignore everything Rudy Giuliani just said. Everything was a lie. He's
total bullshit.
Mamdani's never supported Hamas, never said the word intifada, doesn't hate Jews or Christians. Muslims don't have to write out parts of the Quran. It would be absurd to say, hey, if you're a Jew running for mayor, you've now got to write out parts of the Torah or the Talmud. Otherwise, we don't accept Jews. If you said you're a Christian running, but you've got to cancel out parts of the Bible, otherwise we won't let Christians run. It would be deeply bigoted. And that's what Rudy Giuliani was. Bigoted nonsense, total trash. Ignore every lie he just said. Now,
everything he just said was completely reasonable. And I'm going to shit on Cenk later. I have a video to watch that has Cenk in it. Everything that because we know from the clip earlier that he's going to reintroduce Rudy Giuliani, and oh no, the guy who could barely put a sentence together is going to come back into the conversation. bro, that's completely a reasonable take. It was most of what he was just spewing was just based around like some kind of bigoted mindset around fear of Muslim people. And I think there are definitely groups to be concerned about that are fundamental Islamists and things like that. But just to kind of like cast that on people broadly who are Muslim, I mean, it's just fucking insane. You wouldn't accept that for any other group. And we obviously know that these kind of extremist groups exist within all of these other kind of religions and things of that nature. Lindy Lee has one of those faces. Yeah, she's terrible. She's absolutely terrible. And I'm excited to see what she's going to say. I've seen her on Piers a few other times. And usually she's just fucking butthurt about the liberals because they didn't accept her or whatever. So we'll see what she has to say here.
Let's talk about, look, there's
Shout out to
three
you, Sandor,
different types of people going against Mamdani. There's the economic criticism, which is interesting, legitimate, and debate-worthy. Then there's the people who are opposed to him because he won't bow his head to Israel. And that's Rudy. And that's almost everyone in Democratic establishment and the Republican.
By the way, I wouldn't mind Linda Lee and Sandor Clegane one-on-one. That's something I'd pay for. I would personally make her my champion if it meant Sandor Clegane got to fucking smash her head. So just let you know, if you want to take it there.
So those folks say, no, that's it. This guy won't bow. If he won't bow to Israel, if he's New York first, unacceptable. He has to be Israel first. And that's absurd. And they're deeply racist and they're bigots. And I can't stand it. So there's other critiques of Mamdani we can get into, but in terms of this whole attack against him being Muslim and him not kissing Israel's ass is totally not relevant to New York and is only an argument made by bigots. So I hope I've been clear enough.
I think you've made your position very clear. Geraldo, welcome back.
Sandor, you're coming through here making some fucking great points. I already could tell I fuck with you heavy. So Sandor here says, how can we trust him if he won't go and bend the knee, kiss the wall, and receive his orders? 100%. Yeah, it's like that's exactly the reason. Those are the alarms that should be going off in everybody's head, and that's almost why we should trust them. The Trump people had one thing sort of right, although you have to still use some common sense, some critical thinking when deciding if you're going to support somebody on your own. But sometimes it is a good indicator when the system, or whatever you want to call it, is against somebody. You know what I mean? So I've heard so many people be like, you know why I like Trump? Because, you know, Nancy Pelosi doesn't like him, or this person doesn't like him, or this person doesn't like him. I'm like, okay, there's some truth to that. Apply that here. All the people that are fucking blood-sucking, baby-killing goblins hate this guy and accuse him of being that.
Well, I think several things. Nice to see you, Piers and panel. I think, first of all, he has used the expression intifada. He wants to globalize the intifada, and he speaks about it quite often.
Oh, my mic was muted, my bad. But Shank is about to get into this. But as far as I know, I've only seen him asked about this in one interview that I saw where the person asked him about it. And he said, no, that's not really what I use, but I'm not going to condemn it. I understand the kind of feeling behind it. And I want to say in that interview as well, he kind of lays out what it means to him. And that's why Rudy Giuliani already got ahead of that earlier and was trying to say, well, you can't choose what it means to yourself. He's not saying like he's using it for some purpose that no one else uses it for. He's saying like, hey, there's a lot of people actually that mean it in a way that is not violent, but it's representative of resistance and things like that. So
let me finish. Secondly, I agree with you. I agree with you. Please, it's not. It's on the record. Just look it up. The second thing is that the whole notion.
He's never said
the whole notion of moving the tax burden in New York from the richer, whiter neighborhoods to the richer, whiter neighborhoods, as if the richer, whiter neighborhoods don't pay enough in tax.
Look at Piers. Piers is grabbing his ear because he's like, is that guy fucking drunk? I can't understand anything he's saying right now.
We've had enormous flight of the people who do pay tax to the suburbs and to other states. And all we have to do is increase the tax, the real estate tax, even more under his proposal. And you'll have no taxable base. You'll have no rich white people to pay the tax. The third thing, and curiously, I agree in a twisted way, about the situation with the Palestinians. I believe that what you saw, and this is the underreported headline, I believe, is that you saw a cataclysmic shift in the Jewish vote. It was a generational shift. Older Jews and in neighborhoods that were 100% Jews, like the Hasidic neighborhoods and others, they went with Governor Cuomo in the Democratic primary just.
All right, no disrespect, but he's just fucking rambling on. I want to read this comment from Sandor here. Sandor, I fuck with you. I agree with you, brother, and I'm fist bumping you here. I wish if I would have went, I guess I wouldn't have probably met you if I wouldn't have went live at this time. But I wish you and we have another viewer named Wiggy Wom. He always has great insights. I think you guys would probably have a really interesting conversation in the chat, but for another day, I suppose. But so Sandor says socialism is a bad word. Americans think it means communism. Guess where has socialism? Universal health care, social safety nets, that tiny country that receives as many US dollars. You're talking about Israel, my brother. 100%. I'm with you. That's totally correct. And the way that you're kind of like painting it is completely correct. It's an emotional thing. Americans receive socialism and immediately cringe. And a lot of that is just based off the branding, the anti-branding around socialism and how effective it is. It's doing a lot of that work because as far as like actually materially, when we interface with socialism, Americans generally, because it benefits the larger group, we love it. Like we love when the fire department comes and puts out our house and they're not on the phone and there's two houses and one house is saying, I got $10,000 you can put out my fire. So fuck that house that only has $500 or no dollars to have their fire put out of their house. You know, so people love when it's not just let it burn, you know, at the end of the day, or when you see the police department come and they're not making these kind of private judgment calls of we're not the police department for everybody. We're the police department for this neighborhood that can afford a police department. You know, so I completely agree with you. That kind of, and it gets a lot of people to vote against their own personal self-interest. That word is scarier to most because I think there's a huge portion of the population, especially the elites, that recognize the benefits of socialism to the greater good of the country. So it's not a bad word to them. They are actually so fucking evil that they understand the good that can come of it, and they consistently undermine it, and then they push forth this kind of messaging to the people who it actually would materially make their life better, and you know, puts this messaging forth that discourages them from ever actually organizing in a way to make this a reality. So I completely agree with you, and I mean it's honestly, I mean it's a heartbreaking thing because you do see so many people that are just caught up in that kind of like cog of thought. And I mean, even I've had people, a lot of times we'll do debates on the show. I'll have people that I know come through and we'll have, whether it be like liberal versus conservative kind of debates or whatever. But that happens a lot. And I've had a lot of debates with conservatives who, after you start to really lay out the argument for like socialized healthcare, I mean, I can only think, I can't think of any, honestly. I can't think of any conservatives that I know that I have had that conversation in depth with and haven't left the conversation with them at least saying, you know what, that is actually something for me to really think about. I'm not sure. Maybe that makes sense. So having social safety nets means less crime and poverty, much cheaper in the short and long term. Great point. Yeah, absolutely. And just the ability to educate your population as well. Think about that as well. Corporations always get bailed out. Socialism for the rich, capitalism for the poor. And fucking die. Pay taxes and fucking die, peasants. Procreate and give us more fucking kids. We're not fucking giving you any money to support those kids. They're gonna be slaves. Sandor, I fuck with you. Make sure you subscribe, man. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And that goes for everybody, but definitely do that, Sandor, because we're really trying to build a community at this point. I'm getting more consistent with this at this point. I took a little bit of a break. So now that I'm coming back and I'm getting more consistent, I want to be able to build this sort of community with really informed, intelligent, and thoughtful people like yourself, really thinking about the issues and just adding to, I'm sure we wouldn't agree on plenty. So I'm sure you could definitely add to my own perspective on a lot of different things. So I appreciate you getting in here and really rocking out, and just shout out to Sandor Clegane in general. Great fucking character.
Passed. The people who voted against Cuomo and for Mamdani were
the young
man. Jewish voters who are activists, who are in the hundreds of thousands in New York, They are, half of that generation in the city of New York. They are part of the lifeblood of the city. They rejected their parents, Israel always and forever, no matter what kind of view. And they are sick to death of what's happening in Gaza. They can't stand to see Israel continue to wage this very, very unfair, violent campaign against civilians in Gaza. Now you're not talking about Iran, you're not talking about Syria or Hezbollah or the big picture, but you're talking specifically about what's going on in Gaza. It has sickened. I know I have kids in New York. Two of my children live in New York. Two now. I just hesitate because one just moved, but two live in New York.
God. They didn't just move. This man has fucking memory issues. Let's just keep it real. He's fucking lost in the sauce. Matter of fact, just before we get too far from here, and this doesn't mean anything. It's just a funny thing. So for anybody that doesn't know, it doesn't mean that this guy's wrong necessarily or anything like that. But let's come on now. This is what we're talking about. Oh, okay. Hold on. I gotta put this down. Come on. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, this is just proof. My boy parties. You feel what I'm saying? And sometimes he gets a little sunburn. He puts on the sunnies. He's feeling a little sunburn. They got the red tint on him, rose-colored glasses. And he sometimes he does that and he gets on Piers Morgan right after. Fuck it. But I'm just saying, take it with a grain of salt. This doesn't mean he's wrong. This means whatever it means to you. I mean, my boy's showing the fucking V off. You know what I'm saying? He's showing the fucking crazy old man V. So don't get it twisted. Just for the record.
In New York, I voted for Giuliani. I voted for Bloomberg. But to see these kids are rejecting their parents, Israel always and forever, no matter what, and saying, wait a second, Israel has to be held to the same standard as any other nation. We're not going to let you
Isn't that
push
crazy?
us. And we are voting, and they rejected the Democratic establishment candidate and the old school ways, and they embrace something much more energetic and humane and compassionate, I believe.
Yeah, and I think also I would add to that, Cuomo.
This is hilarious. Sandor fucking coming through with the heavy comedic hits. So Sandor says an ancient Hebrew tablet was unearthed and dated 2465 BCE. It was translated in 2023. It read, Iran is 2 weeks away from a nuke. Yeah, fucking signed Bibi Netanyahu, fucking immortal fucking demon.
There's hardly a clean whistle when it comes to candidates. There's a lot of baggage there, which people have probably not forgotten. And, memories live long. Lindy, you were listening to that quite intently. I mean, it's a really interesting political story, isn't it? That this guy, Mamdani's come out of nowhere and he's basically taking down one of the most experienced politicians in the country in Andrew Cuomo. It's not over yet, but it's looking pretty perilous.
Out of nowhere, meaning he had a fucking normal job and you know what I'm saying? Like he had a normal job and he wasn't totally fucking groomed by fucking lobbyists to step into his role, I guess, out of nowhere.
For Cuomo. You were part of the Democratic.
Man's lived in New York City since he was fucking 7 years old. Give him a break. He's not a fucking terrorist. He's been there since he was 7. When was he supposed to be there? I guess only thing that's acceptable is you need to be shot into your mother on the homeland. Other than that, don't even have an opinion on this fucking country, assholes.
Machine. What do you put this down to?
It is pretty much over because Cuomo won't quit. So Cuomo and Eric Adams are both running. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to split the opposition vote to Mamdani. So chances are he's going to be the next mayor. And Cenk, I just want to say my opposition to him has nothing at all to do with Israel or his faith. It's nothing. It's to do with his Marxist ideology.
Has to do with she's hurt that the Republican Party said, you are a fucking grifter, bitch. Get out of here. Sandor says, guess who came out of nowhere? Wealth could not be explained. Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. And I mean, even after he got his wealth and bought a fucking island and transported copious amounts of underage prostitutes, it was at the end of the day, it was just him and Ghislaine Maxwell on that island, enjoying all those underage prostitutes for themselves. He was also a greedy bastard. Never invited a single person out to that island that he bought. Who buys an island not to have fucking parties on it? Nobody buys an island. And then, okay, I'll take that back. People do buy islands and maybe they do want to be by themselves. But people don't buy islands and then traffic underage prostitutes there, whores, for just for yourself. It just doesn't happen, honestly. Because you could do that right in the comfort of your own home in New York City or wherever the fuck.
And I have to say, I feel sick to my stomach because of it. I was born in an authoritarian communist regime that murdered my great grandfather in cold blood.
Oh.
So anything that reeks of communism just sends shivers down my spine.
And
every one of his proposals, from taxing wider neighborhoods to government-run groceries to free buses, all these policies will end up hurting.
They're one step away from putting a bullet in her grandfather's head. Free grocery stores. It's basically loading the gun to blow her fucking grandfather's head, guys. That's the thing that they did that led to the Great Leap Forward. And maybe I don't want to make any assumptions. Maybe it wasn't the Great Leap Forward. Maybe she's talking about some other communist regime.
The very people he purports to want to help. And Piers, he brought up a really good question when you were speaking with Rudy. You asked him why so many New Yorkers voted for this guy.
Yeah.
But let me put it into perspective for everybody. Only 5% of New Yorkers did. Most people didn't even bother showing up. So 5% of one of the biggest cities in the world is actually not a significant amount at all. It's kind of it's just really unrepresentative of where the city is.
That's okay when it gets a fucking Republican elected somewhere. But when it gets a down-to-earth fucking halal serving fucking Democrat, they hate it.
Support our show and tell them I sent you.
Tell them Piers sent you.
Well, I mean, to a point, but at the same time, that is what the vote was, and it is.
That is what the vote was in here. I don't mean to pause it because I don't have anything to say about that, but I do just want to show this off. I don't know if anybody in here is smokers at all. It's okay if you're not. I respect it if you're not, but this is just a fun thing. I didn't have anything to roll here tonight, so I had to find something to smoke out of. I didn't want to emasculate myself by getting a pipe, but I did still get a pipe. This thing right here. Look at this guy. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's Towley. He's upside down. Who gives a damn? It's Towley. This is a special thing. About to load this sucker up. This is emergency. This is emergency. I was all out of things to actually roll with, and it is late, and I'm not tired. I'm actually charged the fuck up right now, actually. We're only an hour in. I'm actually feeling fucking great. But that's not great because then I won't be able to go to sleep, and then fuck, I'm up slaving away tomorrow. You know what I mean? All right. Could it be that Gen Z and Gen Alpha, are not falling for the lies dished up to Gen X and millennials? Yeah. I mean, Gen X is just, what a fucking waste of a generation. Am I right? What fucking idiots. They were just letting them run out the back door every single time you turn around. So I'm with you. I think that it's just and this is really the way that these things are supposed to progress. This is, if you want to believe in late stage capitalism, I mean, it kind of feels like we're a little bit there. And I hate to say that shit. People act like we don't love stability. I would love for it to be stable, but at the cost of it, one, not being stable. That's been made apparent that, with things like inflation and stuff like that's made it very unstable for everybody. So now you're looking at the people that have several, like Jeff Bezos, throwing millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars on a wedding, on a fucking party, and then he's pulling a yacht and then an extra yacht up for his party. It's like people just those two things can't exist in a society and actually continue to make sense. Like, at some point, people have to wake up around class consciousness and understand, like, that's a completely untenable way to manage your society, where you have people within the society with super yachts, and then you have people in society that the only access they have to water is through bottled water. Only 2 yachts. Yeah. What? Yeah. What are they going to do when they have a kid? You know what I mean? And their kid won't have their own yacht and their own slave staff. Like, come on. And they're going to have to share the slaves and the boat, for fuck's sake. It's disgusting.
come as a real political earthquake, not least, I would
Right.
think, to the Democrats themselves, who must
In
be
my
thinking,
view,
what the
is
hell
that
is happening here?
Yeah. And the Democratic Party is completely broken. We've tread this ground so many times. They're a vestige of a past. But I want to say that this isn't so much a vindication or endorsement of Mamdani as a flat out rejection of Andrew Cuomo and everything he represents.
Okay.
Everyone from left to right sees him as a deeply corrupt individual who should never be anywhere near public office again.
Okay, well, listening to all this, I can like to say Rudy Giuliani's been listening and actually didn't really want to leave us, so we've got Rudy back. Rudy.
It's funny because Cenk talked about him fucking 5 minutes ago. He said he didn't need anything. It looks like he's coming back from making himself a sandwich. This fucking old bastard. What happened is he forgot to turn off his fucking webcam. He's like, oh shit, I'm still on there? Fuck.
Welcome back.
Say to defend
so just to clarify what a few of the
Rudy,
panelists...
by the way, you and I have exchanged a lot of mean tweets. I want to apologize. I don't know. You blocked me. I think you were very angry. I just want to take this opportunity to extend an olive branch.
Wow. Okay, Rudy.
Well, I'm not a...
Look at the sexual deviant fucking Rudy Giuliani. You see where his mind immediately went. This fucking nasty.
I'm not aware of them. I wonder if they were as excessive as the original attack on me by, I thought my friend there, highly personal and really nasty.
Oh, it wasn't as bad as
over the
Cenk's,
top.
but yeah.
But in any event, I mean, he's actually quoted, I have it here at 2 different events, using the word globalized the Intifada, your candidate, Zohran. And then he weasels out of it by, well, I mean, just go look at it as you were just told. I mean, try something like
Rudy,
reading.
you're missing the
So
distinction.
read it.
He doesn't say it, but he also doesn't condemn it.
He defends it. Is that a lot better? Just yesterday on Meet the Press, when he was speaking with Kristen Walker, he defended the phrase again. Come on, it looks really bad. It's not something you should say.
He doesn't use it. There's a difference.
He defends it.
This is the problem with like the conflation with, oh, it looks really bad and things like that. I think that we can actually be in agreement here that it's not the most politically advantageous thing to say. You know what I mean? It's not going to put you in the most rooms, and it's not going to ingratiate yourself with the people with the largest pockets. Stop spinning around. But with the people with the largest pockets. So, you know, I definitely think we could agree with that he's taking, it does take some political cost and some political bravery in a way to actually stand up and say that he's not going to condemn those kind of things. And he's willing to have honest conversations around that terminology. I haven't heard him endorse it. I wouldn't be surprised if he said it, as far as like, because now he's been put in the position to where he has to defend it, as far as like defend his own position on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's discussed it and said it, but yeah, I haven't seen him like endorse it through his own vision, if that makes sense. You know, at a rally, say like, you know, globalized Intifada through himself. Now I have seen him, like I said, defend that, you know, he's been kind of lumped in with the group that does say that, but I think that's completely fair to defend that. And I think it is fair to defend people that utilize their free speech to say that. And I also think we do this all the time where words may have some kind of like really strong root, and then we, you know, really adapt them to mean some kind of other kind of parallel meaning, like fight, or, you know, people use kill, like in sports or something like that. They may say, you know, kill the quarterback or something. They don't mean fucking smuggle a fucking knife in and, you know, shank the quarterback after you sack him. They just mean like be on his ass all day long. So, you know,
the key point is he doesn't condemn it is the point, right? So he doesn't condemn it, which actually in the modern climate for a New York City potential mayor not to condemn a phrase like globalized intifada is a pretty big deal.
It's terrible. It's damning.
The
it's not good politically. And by the way, Sandor, I did see what you said here. Thank you, Lindy. Let me babysit for you. The fucking gremlin demon, fucking Rudy Giuliani. Mamdani is literally the left version of Vivek. Yeah, that's an interesting comparison. That's extremely interesting comparison. I'll have to really think about that. Intifada means rise up, a slogan often used in politics. Just ignorance and fear mongering, for sure. Ignorance and fear mongering, because it's an Arabic word. When to your point, meaning rise up, means something that we constantly, if he was saying rise up in English, although I'm sure because they're dishonest actors, they may still take that and try to, pervert it. But it's like, obviously something like rise up or fight or whatever, like these are things that are commonly adapted into political rhetoric. So, which he's not even actually at this, I'm still contesting with the point that they're making. I haven't actually heard him use this as some kind of political chant or in any way to like booster his own political position. It's only been something that he's been forced to contend with because of the racism. Gates Open Media, bro. You might as well shut this off. I will flame your ass. Do not even fucking step in here. All right. So Rudy Giuliani was, by the way, go follow Gates Open Media. He hasn't been doing content for a while because he had some personal stuff come up, medical stuff, and but I know that he's planning on getting back to it at some point. He's got a great show. It is the opposite perspective of mine. He is a conservative brother of Trump, but I do enjoy the conversations, even though I think he's completely a goofball. Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York when they hit the towers. Also, he's the one who took down the mafia in New York. He hit them with the first RICO case. Okay. Thank you for that, brother. I was aware of those things, and that does not mean that I have to support the fucking disgusting bullshit that he endorses all the time. His political positions at this point are completely brain dead. We've already been reacting to this video for a little bit, but we've already addressed like many of the things that he's framing that are outright dishonest framings of things that Mamdani has said or whatever, or it just honestly shown that he's kind of misinformed and underinformed on the issue, to be completely honest. I mean, in terms of being slick, and his views are quite literally the opposite of Vivek. No, like I said, I like that comparison, and I could see that. I kind of wanted to grapple with that a little bit more because I think it's actually such an interesting comparison, and it may be able to map on so perfectly that I really want to, I want to scrutinize it a little bit. But I think that's on point, Sandor. Yeah, that I can see the comparisons. He is like the socialist version of Vivek coming in and being like, we need to being the conservative version, saying we need to basically end all government fucking agencies and all this kind of stuff. So, and Vivek had his own kind of charm, I think, that was understandable. I mean, it was understandable for me coming from more the left perspective, where I could see how people thought he was a more polished version of like basically the online right rhetoric, so I think that's a really interesting comparison you made.
Reality is he tries to redefine the Intifada as his own definition of the Intifada. It's not violent. Well, go tell that to the thousands of people that have been killed. I used to go to Israel in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
Oh, imagine that.
Was mayor. I've been in hospital.
Imagine that. Who would have guessed that Rudy Giuliani used to spend some time in Israel? Who could have guessed it? Who could have guessed that he has many Israeli friends? I'll give you 3 guesses. They're all yeses.
Seeing girls whose faces were ripped apart by Hamas. There was an Intifada. There were 2 of them. It killed thousands of people, and it has no other definition. And the guy's playing a sick communist game of doublespeak.
Not true either.
Let me bring Cenk. I'm going to bring Cenk back in. Hang on.
He's a total empty suit.
Let me bring Cenk back in, because another problem Mamdani may have as this goes on is he's on record as saying.
I see the correction here from you, Sandor, where you said came. I'm the filters or whatever for YouTube or the software that I'm using might have pulled you out or pulled whatever you said out or censored it before it got to me. I didn't censor any of your shit though. I just let it go. No matter how kind or disrespectful it may be, I let it go. So just so you know, I don't think that we're seeing your other comment.
That he wants to defund the police. He's tried to distance himself from that, but he said it. He insisted that queer liberation means defund the police. I mean, again, the idea that somebody, maybe the mayor of New York, would actually have that as a quote on their record is pretty extraordinary. Is he going to be able to shake off these quotes like that, which to many New Yorkers would be complete anathema? And Rudy, when he was mayor of New York, famously the broken windows strategy of fixing the small.
Guillotine, shout out to you. Thank you for popping in here. I'm curious what you mean by that. The money is about to die. So, I mean, I don't know if you mean like the US dollar is about to fucking collapse. But I'm very curious what you mean by that. So if you want to clear that up, feel free. But otherwise, thank you for coming in and giving us your time.
Stuff and police everywhere and empowering them and resourcing them and so on. And now you've got a guy who wants to defund the police.
He also accuses them of being racist.
So just
he also accuses them of being racist when they are a non-majority police department. There's nothing racist about the New York City Police Department. The last time de Blasio did that, he got 2 cops killed, and that's what led to their turning their back on him. There was a riot in Baltimore, and de Blasio, like this other crazy communist, went out and said, "Oh, New York is racist too," and a guy came up from Baltimore and he shot 2 detectives, assassinated them 4 days later, and that's why the cops
Rudy,
turned
the
their
question
backs
was to me.
on that guy.
All right, check.
These people are dangerous, and they get people killed. And you know who gets killed? The black people get killed as a result of it. Yes, no? You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
What the hell is he talking about, gang? I don't understand. But look, Tally's all loaded up. Tally's loaded up and ready to go. It's time to say fuck this bullshit, but we're gonna get back into it. We are gonna keep on listening. Although I am tempted to shut this shit down and say fuck Rudy Giuliani and all this bullshit he's talking about. We're gonna keep on rolling.
Let's all talk at once. Cenk, you go.
Okay. So a bunch
And
of
we're going down. I'm not
there.
afraid, brother.
First of all, it was the highest voter turnout in a Democratic primary in a long time. I was part of the AOC campaign. We were counting on low voter turnout. Not in this case. The tide has changed. The younger people, like Geraldo said, are voting for change, and middle class is voting for change. So you guys play word games. But now to the main question that Piers was asking. Look, there's some of his policies that I don't agree with. I don't agree with defund the police. I wouldn't have had government-run grocery stores at the top of my list. I just wouldn't have, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just wouldn't have prioritized it. So free buses, that's super interesting. I want to see how it works. These are not my policies, but the Democrats.
Why is she putting her fucking hand over her face? Look at this bitch paid by the fucking bus lobby. He immediately like folded when he said free buses. I mean, why are these crazy? I do wonder with our government, why are we so adverse to honestly trying anything that is beneficial for the people? It's like we're willing to try. Like, what if we fucking? I mean, I guess some people would argue like the tax cuts and stuff are beneficial, but we know who it's beneficial for. My point being is that the fucking rich ass cunts in the world that already are fucking skirting by, not paying their fucking fair share. But yeah, why is it situations where, look, if the fucking free bus thing ultimately completely doesn't work in the future, you guys are willing to cut things like Medicaid, willing to cut food stamps from people. I think the free bus thing could possibly be changed if it's a complete colossal failure. But obviously it could be a potential success, and it could really stimulate the participation in commerce in the city. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I would like to hear, instead of just people doing this, like, oh my God, free buses, give the actual reason. I haven't heard anybody actually contend with why it's not a good thing. I just heard people say, hey, it's fucking, it's not a good thing. But search Epstein news. Hey, you know what, M, shout out to you for that. And I'm going to talk about Epstein, but that is great insight. It's like do you have a YouTube channel or something like that on your own? Is M short for Mr. Beast? Because that is exactly the kind of like feedback that is helpful when I'm trying to figure out how the fuck do I name shit, because I struggle with it. Sandor, my guy here, says the corporations and 1% brainwashing the government can literally reach in and take your bank account, but a government-run supermarket, that's too far. Exactly. Sandor, fucking, he's been shitting on the government all night long in a good way, in a productive, healthy way, and I'm loving it. Let's go.
New York elected him. And so let's let him give it a shot, right? So in terms of, defunding the police, again, let's be careful, and he is careful. He at least says it the right way. I don't like the phrase at all, but what he's talking about is moving some portion of the money towards social services. So, okay, you could say, I don't want to try that. That's fine. You've got a general election coming up. But a lot of his economic policies are for change. That's the third issue that I mentioned, Piers, in the beginning. And so overall, I'm for change. I'm against the establishment. So if this brother wants to try the grocery stores, he wants to try free buses, etc., Let him take a shot at it. We've already seen what the establishment has to offer, and it's nothing but pulp. It's driven this country into the ground. I don't want another Cuomo. I don't want another Adams. I want change.
Hey, and we're not going to hell, brother. We're not fucking PDF files. I assure you that. Hit subscribe. You landed on a YouTube channel of somebody who is not a fucking PDF file. I am a fucking human. I am a human, and I don't do that weird shit. I'm actually a father, and fucking I despise that shit. It's disgusting. And I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of, I mean, it's a horrible thing, and I'm really not trying to like laugh about the Epstein list as far as like, you know, how serious it is and how it's being it's just being pushed underneath the fucking bus or underneath the fucking bed. Forget about it. Please stop asking about it. Please stop asking about it. When there was so much transparency promised. It's like, if there's truly nothing, I mean, you really got to release things that, like, you got to release everything. If there's really nothing to it, which of course that doesn't make any sense. And you're correct. It's like nobody gets fucking put in prison for trafficking pussy to themselves. Even they couldn't even get P. Diddy on that. They had to put him in prison for prostitution or jail for prostitution. They couldn't even put his ass fucking, they couldn't even really hit him over the head like they wanted. But, so yeah, look, fucking in this case, for them to just act like the entire time, and people actually have came out and said that they've seen lists, that they've seen the documents and all this. This was the lead up. And then we actually get in the office and it's time to really enact that kind of change that will expose everything that you've promised leading up to the point, and you promised that to the people that got you into the position. Now you got to fucking follow through. You got to follow through, and you got to bring that home. You know what I mean? You can't virtue signal and things like that around PDF files, and then at the end of the day, just kind of push it to the side like it just wasn't. Like, the reason that was such effective messaging to people like him, people like myself, anybody that really got invested around that, it's like, it's because we take the protection of our children so serious. So to fucking weaponize that politically is just, it's abhorrent bullshit. And I don't know. I mean, the thing that I'm hopeful for is that it allows people to open up their eyes that otherwise, you know, I don't want to say brainwashed or anything like that, but it's just like they ended up thinking that there was anything different about what these people were selling you. It's still the same bullshit. And the people that they're going to serve are still the same fucking masters. They're going to serve the good nation of Israel. And and a lot of people that they serve are going to be these fucking PDF files. Sadly, there's something about people that like doing that kind of shit. They like to fucking be successful in the government and in other industries. It's because the only way that they can get away with what they're doing is they have to be insanely rich and successful. You cannot be a poor person, fucking kids. Guess what? We throw those people in prison. Fuck that. We throw them in prison, or we make YouTube videos, punch them in the face, shit like that. But when you're a fucking rich guy and you're doing that, it just all gets thrown in the fucking recycling bin on the FBI's computer. That's the first thing they did when they came in. First day of the administration. They said, show me the files and show me the fucking recycling bin. So put them through the shredder. Yeah, and I fuck with you, and it is something that gets me a little hyped up as well, bro.
Well, it's really, okay. It's really, let me just, I want to ask Geraldo actually first, then come to you, Lindy, because it's interesting actually that what Cenk just said, because the conservative writer, Rod Dreher, likened Mamdani's win to Trump's. He said New York left-wing voters, quotes, lashed out against what they regard as a failed liberal establishment, electing a charismatic populist who promised a clear break with the past. We on the right can shake our heads and laugh at how dumb New York liberals and progressives were to choose a...
And we can say wild racist shit on Twitter about fucking the Statue of Liberty fucking wearing a burqa.
Candidate as politically inexperienced and radical as Mamdani, but don't miss that this was also a referendum on the Democratic Party itself. And, you know, I do remember, Geraldo, when in 2015 Donald Trump came down the famous, you know, elevator saying, I'm going to run for president, everyone mocking and laughing and saying he's got no experience, this is a ridiculous candidate, quoting all sorts of...
I laughed. Let's just be honest about some shit that we feel fucking really dumb about. I laughed. Holy moly. I laughed and I joked about it. I remember at that time talking to my mom a lot about it. She's always been very politically involved. So I would talk to her about it, and I would kind of joke around trying to trigger her about like, you know, oh shit, I'm gonna vote for Trump. I'm gonna vote for Trump. And then she would get real upset, and I'd be like, come on, you know, he's not gonna win. I'm just fucking around. And then the motherfucker went and won the shit. God, so disgusting. So M says, so far, they have tried pandemics, natural disasters, and quotes around natural. So M, I'm taking that we're thinking that they're using the heart machine and fucking shooting hurricanes at us. And World War III, because we know what they did. Oh, it's true. That's so fucking true. No, it's so fucking accurate. It's like literally every fucking thing to distract from the shit. And it's like, it is this thing that like it bridges political affiliation where it's like I have liberal friends, I have people who are completely disinterested in politics altogether, people who are independents, but and even outside of that, like I said, completely apolitical. They don't want to hear shit to do with politics. They don't really vote. All like just this entire spectrum of friends. But one thing that they most all have in common, I have some older friends I've met through work. They're like, that Epstein shit is fucking dumb and whatever. But almost all of them are like, even if they're like, I don't know if it's everything that, you know, I see on the internet, this or that. They're like, I want to see what it is. Be transparent. Tell us what it is. Don't sit here and continue to bury it. If it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, which it obviously is, put it out there. Sandor, I got you. Let's see here. The whole experience in politics is only used to keep the populace voting oligarchs. Remember, for the people, by the people. It means a bartender can and should get into politics. Same as a plumber. Motherfucker, I agree with you, Sandor. Fucking fist bump. Brother, I agree with you. And yes, I absolutely. Like those people are, there's a different kind of like intelligence that those people bring. I've worked in a lot of industries. I worked in industries where I've dealt with a lot of rich people, a shit ton of rich people. And I will tell you that in my experience, from a just conversational standpoint, I'm not saying that they may not have a deeper grasp on like some high level topics and that's how they made their money or whatever it may be, but like just a general kind of like person to person intelligence, emotional intelligence, being able to like the art of conversation. Some of the most intelligent people I've met and some of the most interesting people I've met have been people that are not wealthy. You know, not wealthy. Most of them are not wealthy and have some kind of actual lived experience that informs whatever kind of perspective they bring. And that gets lost with these oligarchs who are trained puppets to step into these roles and rule. So, I mean, I absolutely, completely agree. Or whoever. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think that's a powerful statement. I think that's something that more people, part of like this kind of deference to expertise is what ends up putting us in this position where we're ran by oligarchs or we're ran by a very small portion of the public. And then Sandor, okay, said who or whatever, or whoever, my bad. M says, of course, and basketballer is the same as a brain surgeon. I mean, come on. Some of these motherfuckers that dribble a fucking, let's be clear, some of these people that dribble a fucking basketball, they are no smarter than the person that's owns their own lawn care company or something, for example. Some of these motherfuckers that could slam a fucking ball through the hoop, that's all they focused on their entire life, and they can't read shit. They can't read a fucking normal application to save their fucking life. They could not make a fucking resume. Like, and this is just little shit. I'm not talking, come on. All right, so Sandor, oh shit. Okay, so Strawman at M. Let's go. Sandor, fucking, you want to fucking battle it out in the comments, my brother. Let's see. Strawman at M. Your comment alone means you think yourself inferior to these people who lie to you every day. Which I agree. I don't know if that's what M's saying. I'm not sure if I'm interpreting that correctly. And that's quite sad. I'm sad for you. No, I agree, of course. And a basketball player is the same as a brain surgeon. So yeah, I mean, I guess I see what Sandor's saying there, as far as like you're saying like a basketball player couldn't have the ability to offer something equal to what a brain surgeon could. But yeah, I mean, and I agree that that's false, to be completely honest. All right, so all it is sad. And King Cobra, shout out to King Cobra. Go follow his page, my guy right there. He gets lit and vibes, and the vibes are just immaculate. And he has some really interesting guests come on there. And King Cobra, bro, I did actually jump in there before I hopped on here tonight. And actually, I think it was yesterday, one of your other streams. And I saw that there was some beef going on in the community. So I mean, if you want to go over there and you want to check out, it's entertaining. Like, I just will say that. King Cobra, check him out. But he says, all it is said, people don't understand how there's a differentiation between people who know shit and people who claim to know shit. Yeah, the art of conversation is a lost art. And it is an art, brother. Yeah, I'm with you. Language is an art in itself. So I absolutely agree. And then said yes. All right. So I'm gonna have to see exactly what you're saying yes to, if it's King Cobra's comment or if it's Sandor's comment here, where he's saying you wouldn't go to a basketball player when you need brain surgery, as in, why would you have a bartender when you need a politician? Okay, well, that's interesting. So that's even after reading it a second time, I still didn't even really interpret it that way. And I guess M is saying yes to your interpretation here. So I'll engage with it based off the framing that you're giving, Sandor. And I would say a politician is something completely different. There's like a lot of the people that you see that end up getting into politics. I mean, politician is this thing separate. And the point of a politician is to represent the people. And the people, the thing that's representative of that are these people from the people that are, say, a bartender, or from the people that are basketball players or whatever. It's completely reasonable for them to want to be a representative of their community and in the will of that community. I don't think that, like I said, politician, even what are you like, what's the pipeline there that would be really acceptable? I'm curious if somebody that would look at it in that way. I think when you're talking about a brain surgeon, it is a straw man in that way, because like there's a different kind of expertise we're talking about when we're talking about medical surgery or something like that. As far as like for a politician, you need to give people the opportunity to come in, represent their class and just their community, rather than have some fucking person put into a community with the intention that this person's going to become a politician in a few years and represent actually, some kind of like lobbyist agenda because he's been put in that position based off financial interest. It gets really shaky as far as that concerned, but that's not, I don't know. I'm interested in what you have to say here. So from what I can tell, the bartender and friends have a specific goal, and that is to muddy the waters. Some of the things they say might be valid and mixed with other things that are insane. That's interesting. Okay, so I want to get back to this video at some point, but this is an interesting line of thought. So from what I can tell, so you're saying that the bartender and their friends, they have a specific goal, and that is to muddy the waters. So basically muddy the waters of politics, and I guess cause some kind of chaos in politics, maybe is what you're referring to. And I want to interpret it in good faith. So please hop in the comments and correct me if I'm mischaracterizing what you're trying to say. Sandor said, what I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to see because I see there's a typo there. And what that means is M is totally retarded. Okay, so there you go. All right. So what that means is that M is totally retarded. M, what do billionaires have in common with you? What shared interests do you have when it comes to voting? Retarded as fuck. I won't go so far as to call the man retarded because I'm interested in the perspective, but I do totally agree with Sandor. I will be honest. I do totally agree with Sandor. I think like to completely discount your own perspective, undermine your own kind of perspective and voice. I mean, that is one of the greatest tools that the people in power have over you, is that they can sit there and discount, like you're going to take yourself out of the game. And you're just going to, I don't know. I don't want to say submit because that has some like, kind of like, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You want to just forego any of your own power or any of your kind of own agency. And you want to just forfeit that to, these people based off their lot in life, which I mean, what a lot of billionaires have in common, to also go a little bit further with your comment here, Sandor. They don't have a lot in common with you, but what they have with one another is that most of them are coming from some position of wealth. Like a lot of people are not building their billions coming from some kind of like working class. And I don't know where you come from, M, but I mean, for myself, I'm coming from a, lower class, middle class, impoverished perspective, like growing up. And in order for me to obtain the position in life that I have currently, buying my own house and, having a comfortable life, I mean, I have been able to achieve that, but to to acknowledge the amount of sacrifice that my own family has had to take on in order for me to achieve that, and understand that like a majority of the public, they're having to do that at least, if not more, have to take on that kind of burden. I think, yeah, to have somebody to just put people forward that never have to really know what that struggle is kind of missing the point of what a politician's purpose is. If we're a representative republic, I mean, and you're putting people in power that literally are not representative, you know, I think Sandor's right. You're going to end up getting policies that are not representative. They're representative of a very small masterclass of people. But don't shy away because the retarded word was used or anything like that. We're having a real conversation here, and it's real beautiful, and everything's lovely. We respect your opinion, although sometimes you will get called a retard if you're saying some crazy shit. You know, and I think that's good too. So King Cobra says, if you open your panel, I'll discuss with you. But this is your channel, bro. Keep doing your thing. No, I appreciate that. I'll drop the link in there. I just don't even expect people to hop on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially this late at night. And I was reacting to shit, so I don't know, you know, how you feel about sitting here listening to fucking Geraldo Rivera fucking talk about fucking how he likes to take selfies in front of pictures with his shirt off. Hold on. Just so you guys don't think I'm bringing that shit up random. You might not have been in the stream earlier. What the fuck? What the fuck? My boy showing off the crazy fucking V. What the hell, man? It's crazy. We can never listen to that man again. So, but yeah, just so you know, I'm kind of doing that, but I'll definitely drop this in the comment, and anybody can hop in here. Everybody's welcome. Let me see. I didn't know if you were still rocking on your own channel as well, brother. So like I said, go check out King Cobra. Some good vibes over there. Sandor Clegane, the fucking hound. The hound who speaks for the people. That's why, you have to respect Sandor. He's coming from a real place of, really came from the bottom. And he's seen how power operates and how they do shit. And, he knows how the kings and queens, how they come to their decision, how they feel about the fucking peasants. So he's coming from a place of real wisdom here. Sandor Clegane says, removing self-agency because he's just a poor dum-dum. He needs the elites to tell him how other poor people are keeping him poor. Oh yeah, I'm with you. I don't know if we still have him in the building, brother. Like I said, I'd love to hear kind of your feeling as far as like what we're saying, because it is really a message of empowerment too, to be honest. So like even like what Sandor and what I'm kind of like touching on here, it really is all about like understanding your own agency and the control that you have, and just also your responsibility, because when we completely sit on the sideline and we're like, hey, I'm going to take my own voice out of here, it's like that's you, and then that's all the people that end up making that same exact decision, and then at some point it becomes detrimental. And then Sandor says, it's literally, I'm too dumb to have an opinion. Please, 1%. Tell me again, why I should hate healthcare and social safety nets. I want to die. Well, listen, I want to be able to fucking be bankrupt because of my fucking fucking life-saving treatment. Or fuck it, don't even give me the treatment. Just let me fucking die. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just glad this background is working because I didn't think it was going to work for tonight, but it ended up coming through perfect. We might end up having KC come through here. That's going to be King Cobra. If not, then all good. I'm going to start this video back up though, just so you know, because M's not going back and forth. I want to give time for this very interesting conversation. I do thank you, M, because regardless if I agree with your opinion, and I don't on that, if I'm understanding you correctly, I do really appreciate the opportunity to engage and just that you're being open with your opinion. And I think hopefully, you could take whatever from this and it evolves your opinion to what, and I'm not saying that it needs to, you may feel like you're completely correct on this, but I think even this, I'm taking from it, and it's, like I said, it's not changing my mind, but it definitely gives me something to consider. I really appreciate the insight. And then Sandor coming through with the fucking great sword, the two-handed fucking heavy great sword, letting it swing, fucking a floor dragger, if you know what I'm saying. He's fucking coming through here, and he's definitely hitting with some hard hitting facts of just like almost affirmations. He's hitting you with like morning affirmations. I have agency. I am as smart as Elon Musk. I know what to do in a what's that called? An emergency. I know that we should have a little bit of a heads up on our weather. What else? We shouldn't kidnap people off the street and send them to a slave camp. I mean, already I feel like I'm ready to run for politics right now. I'm ready. Sandor Clegane, I give it rough. You make it palatable, brother. Yeah, we're a good team. I'm enjoying it for sure. We should start a political party. Too bad we're working class. Yeah, I gotta fucking work for a living, brother, or my family will die of starvation. Oh, I'm not American. I came from a socialist, communism country. You know what 99% of America allies are, all of which have a better quality of life. I would love to know where you're coming from, for one. Maybe King's Landing, I'm not sure, but no, definitely we're a good team, brother. And this has been awesome talking to you. I really have enjoyed it. And you sticking around and vibing for as long as you have, it's been awesome. Usually I go live a little earlier. Usually I try to do it by like 9-10 o'clock. But I was actually I'm off tomorrow. I was up with my daughter and we were kind of hanging out, and she was actually sitting in here with me at first until I had to send her out because it was time for me to smoke, because we got to go to bed after this. But yeah, so we're hanging out, and I was like, let me go live, and it was meant to be, brother. Like I said, I really love kind of how you lay out these arguments, and you know, I do have a tendency to try to make it land a little softer, you know what I mean? But I appreciate you using the blunt force object, and I do think that you're, you know, I think through everything that we've seen, you're vindicated. You're vindicated through this process. Back in the day, I was dropping videos like every single day, just doing the debate podcast that I was doing. And just through the entire process of this election season, I had to dial back because I was just jaded with all of this bullshit, like what you're talking about. So, you know, we are definitely kindred spirits in that way. And it's, but we're back and we're full. And I do feel like if you just are honest and you look at the state of affairs of what we're dealing with today, you got to say, and I'm not saying it really gleefully, although I'm having a good time and I'm a little high, and I'm so thankful for meeting my good friend Sandor here. But you just got to look at it. You got to say, we are a little vindicated. If you can't hit the blunt, you ain't worth the smoke. Straight fire. Yeah, 100%. And I gotta actually, that's what I'm saying. Tomorrow, if I go live, I will have something other than Towley here. I'm not used to using this glass. And it's just not the same kind of experience. But although, like I said, the good conversation, the good vibes have made it all worth it.
Sit and Politic, band.
There you go.
Sit and Politic.
You already know. Let's get back into this video, check it out, and we'll see what we're talking about. Sandor, hey, I gotta say, right now you're the champion of the chat. No disrespect, but he fucking did you like fucking Oberyn Martell in that. 2 fingers to the eye, head exploded. I know that was the mountain, but that's your brother, and you're built like that. KC, brother, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, bro. How you doing?
There you go. Good. Just gonna make us big real quick. Are you still live on your channel?
No, I turned mine off.
Okay, yeah, I don't know how that works. I used to be able to go like I'd be able to go live with other people and then go live for my channel, but they took that feature away from me.
I can do it on my end, but I wasn't gonna do that. I didn't even know you were live, bro. I saw it afterwards.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I was actually, like I said, I was kicking it in yours right before I went live while I was setting up the computer and shit. And
right.
I was enjoying it. It's always a vibe. That is, by the way, King Cobra, like y'all saw in the chat. Go find King Cobra online, and he just does the crazy lives. If you want to have somebody just to sit and kick it with for 5 hours, my guys like that.
You guys might listen to us even argue. That's the fun part.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's absolutely true. Like I said, it's you guys have some interesting conversations, some back and forth in the comments, and it just gets crazy. I like sometimes I'm over there, I'm like, God damn, this is like a reality show.
I enjoy it, man.
We should have our it should be one of the, remember the reality Real World. That's the show.
Oh yeah.
It's like Real World.
No, and you guys got the characters too. People pop in, they're like, I have my own following and fuck you. And it's like, no, actually fuck you, buddy.
Right.
Good shit. No, it's good shit. So definitely go support my man. If you support me, support King Cobra and go check out his content. In Sandor Clegane, actually the guy's been heavy in the comments. This is the first time I've had him on here. But I'd love for you to come up here as well if ever you feel comfortable, brother. He's been really cool adding to the conversation. But before we get cooking, anything you want to say before I start this video back up? If you want to say anything about what you saw, the conversation you saw, or anything like that.
No, I'm in complete agreement. I feel like the art of persuasion is higher than it's ever been, and there's actually a book I have right here. I could show you. This right here is something that will kind of incite a lot of people by William Cooper, but it's called Behold a Pale Horse, and it'll kind of bring you in onto a lot of things that he's talking about right now. There's a lot of documents that you're not going to be able to see anytime soon that they would want to publicize, at least for somebody, unless they're a reader.
Yeah, I'm very,
very good read.
I'll check that out. I'm a reader myself, so I'll definitely tap in on that. And anything that's just giving you like a really fresh, or like, I don't know, some kind of like informed perspective behind the scenes of obviously shit that's constantly getting buried. You gotta search for it.
Absolutely.
You know, that's
they're not going to give it to you up front. The media is all a diversion tactic, and this is not this isn't like a conspiracy theory. The media wants to divert you from what they're trying to do. When they're talking about black on white crime and white on black crime, and police officers killing black, when they're doing all this shit, they're doing it for a reason. They're passing so much shit underneath your nose, and there's so much shit that's going into legislation. And just recently are we getting to the point where when that's going on, now they have to publicize what they're doing, just like Trump's bill, the big beautiful bill, or whatever the hell he wanted to call that.
Yeah.
That's why now it has to become public knowledge. For a long time, this shit would go under people's noses. And you got the NBA finals, you got the World Series, you got the World Cup, you got football for a lot of men, especially. Hell, when I'm paying attention to football, I'm not paying near enough attention to what politics are doing, right?
I'll say take all my shit.
Exactly. And they do it for a reason, man. They do it because they're very meticulous with it. They're very smart with the way that they present themselves, and they know when to do it. Tell me it hasn't worked. How many bills have they passed underneath our nose that you had no clue about until a week or two later, and you're like, wow, why am I paying more right now?
Yeah. No, I think that countless.
Yeah. I'm
with you. I think one thing that is kind of a benefit with how fast and furious the Trump administration has been moving is that it makes some of the shit that the American people just cannot abide by. It makes it more obvious, so we've had more people step out, I think, and I believe this was the case even last time, even though I feel like some of it was also, like you're saying, like just a distraction. But it's more in your face in a way, you know what I mean? It's less of a long con, and it's more of like a right in your face, like, yeah, like this bill is going to end up cutting this much of Medicare. We're giving, these kind of tax cuts that are going to disproportionately impact the rich. Like, exactly. I mean, one thing that really pisses me off, like even like the small wins, like something that I can agree with that I think is a win, and I applaud being in this bill, is the no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. I think that impacts the people that work the hardest in our country.
That's great.
And it's great, but it's interesting when you have that in the bill that gets passed, and that has a sunsetting period on it. So after 4 years, that'll have to get voted on again.
Exactly.
But you have these tax cuts that are for the rich. Those have been codified into law and now can never change.
And when that happens, you have to understand. See, the reason it's more publicized rather than it was his first 4 years compared to when he lost the election to where he got the election back.
Yeah,
he's not going to get a third term. So of course, publicize it now, because make it be known, because what he's wanting it to be known for is because he's worried about the Democratic Party becoming the head sayer, after he's out of office.
Well, I think unintentionally, though, he's made that more likely than it was when he first stepped into office. I mean, in my opinion, there was a cultural shift that we were feeling towards more of like a right leaning, or just like I said, culturally, we were kind of leaning in that direction. My sister's in college, and I talked to her about this, because I think that her generation is actually more conservative than our generation was.
Right.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is in response to the crazy like trans shit, like these like kind of like identity politics that got played. And it's just a complete rejection of those politics. But it's really not a rejection of these politics that are like, it's not a rejection of Medicaid. Like plenty of people that say, fuck this trans shit, I never want to see it in my face ever in my life under any circumstance. The most right-wing kind of perspective you could have on that, or whatever, conservative. It's like they still probably want like old people to not have to worry about their health care. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, go ahead.
And no, I'm agreeing completely with that. And see, that's where it can become to just a proportionary aspect, to where it becomes stalemated to an extent, because you got people looking at one side of the fence and the other. Like, look, if you are trans, do I agree with it? It doesn't matter. That's my answer. It doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. You're going to do what the fuck you're going to do. Now, do I think you should be able, as a woman that says that they became a man, to be in women's restrooms? No, I don't. Same with men that think they're women that can go. No, I don't agree with that. But that's not, the full extent of what they're talking about there. Do I think what Pennsylvania did, with where they took out all the records where they had a trans athlete that was a woman swimmer and had all these records, and they reinstated them to the actual women, and they made a point about that. Do I think that was justified? Absolutely, because that was not a woman. Do you understand what you get what I'm saying there, though, right?
Well, so yes, I do get what you're saying. I think that, and I'm fine with that. I think let Pennsylvania do whatever the fuck they want to do as far as their sports commissions and all that kind of shit. My point is like, me and you shouldn't be divided on our views on trans issues when our Medicaid's being taken from us.
Exactly. Now that's huge. Yeah, that's a way bigger issue. Absolutely.
When food stamps are being taken from people, when I don't know your opinion on that, but I have family members that have benefited from food stamps, and I know them to be hard workers. Like So it's like, go ahead. My bad. I want to let you get in.
No, you're good. But I know what you're talking about, where they're putting regulations on hours and where it has to be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I understand for sure. Yeah, I get what you're doing. And yes, that is a major issue. Absolutely.
Well, it's like and my thing is they put the resources on the big money that's actually being fucking fraudulently taken from the government. Like for example, the Pentagon that has never fucking passed an audit. Like, so why are we digging into the guy who's getting an extra $50 in food stamps potentially or whatever? And it's like, instead of digging into the Pentagon who's stealing fucking billions of dollars from the American people and then sending it to foreign countries. I'm going to read these comments real quick though, because we got Sandor in here. He laid down a couple more comments for us. He said here, the media never used to give opinions, just deliver the news. Now the propaganda, they're propaganda mouthpieces. Yeah, I agree with that totally. And I think it's interesting when you see things like the war with Iran and stuff, where you see like the fucking military industrial complex war machine click into action. And all the other times you watch CNN, obviously, or MSNBC, they're going to be giving you the bullshit anti-Trump take. If you're watching Fox, they're going to be sucking Trump's cock off the entire time you're watching it. You just get these partisan views. But once it comes to like, oh, we're going to war and there's going to be everybody that pays for commercials or funds this news station is about to get paid off this shit. Now MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they all sound exactly the same.
They're all on the same fucking train.
Exactly, 100%. He says that's the reason it's the bill. People are happy and don't look for the other stuff buried in there too. And then he says you watch with this no Epstein list. Something big will be coming right around the corner to take it out of the news. Well, fucking, we'll get ready wherever you're at. Notice how everybody agreed on hitting Iran. Yeah, so I mean, we were literally just saying that same shit. And then yeah, so he just said, LOL, you got it. So yeah, no, exactly. That was a huge red flag, and just let you know the fucking game is up whenever things like that happen. It's like Alice said, so true, Sandor. So thank you for popping in here, Alice, as well. We're in here vibing. Let's get back to this video just in case anybody was here for it. I'll probably cut this up into a reaction video for this video, so I gotta finish it, KC. But I know you don't mind that, but I'm just letting you know that's why we gotta get back into it, because I'll probably
good, brother. I ain't cutting you up, brother.
Yeah, we're vibing though. No, I'm happy that you hopped in here, and I'm glad to have a buddy who's a fucking night owl who will hop on here and talk some shit.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah, otherwise I'll be on here lone wolfing it. And then Alice said about the media. Yeah, no, totally agree. So let's go ahead and get back.
Blah 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 blah, and he won, and he's now won again. So is it mad?
If at any point, by the way, you want me to pause it, just let me know. If you got something that you got to say about something they say, please pause. Please just let me know.
For the Democrats to actually go for a young, kind of their version of Trump.
I think will, in New York at least, mostly be affected by people's wallets, by people's pocketbooks. There is no way that the middle class, the upper middle class, the strivers, the hard workers, the college-educated business creators, there's no way that they're going to tolerate more tax, more income tax. And to think that you're going to have free transit and free food and free housing, free everything. There's no such thing as a free lunch. My goodness, haven't...
Just real quick, so like, and there's somebody else is probably going to correct him on this, but this is the kind of sick shit. This fucking rich cunt on here, and he's sitting here saying you can't have free the free bus trips or whatever. Now that part is true, but then he immediately dishonestly pairs that with you can't live somewhere for free, and nobody's suggesting that. So that's why he's playing on people not following the plot and just like hearing that and just being outraged. Like, well, of course you can't have a free house. Mamdani, the thing that he's conflating there and trying to act like he wants people to have a free place to live, what a fucking terrible thing to imagine. But either way, is that he wants to do rent control. So he wants to prevent people from being able to hike up the rent, exorbitant amounts. So that's not the same as fucking everybody should live somewhere for free. So like I said, just represent the argument. If you actually have a good reasoned argument, you can just represent that argument. You don't have to rely on lying about shit.
Yeah.
And Sandor here says, yeah, it's good. Keep talking to each other and watching good content. Yes, sir. Vibing. And thank you for adding to the content, my brother. Sandor here says, if you tax wealth and not wages, we could have nice things. So, yeah, I'm with that.
We learn. There's no way to have socialism in a city that needs, that needs the vibrancy of Wall Street to create the jobs. It's not just the brokers it's the grocery guy on the corner of Wall Street. It's the Uber driver, et cetera, et cetera. If you take the tax base of New York and attack it anymore, it will be a failed city like so many others. And it's the last thing. We have to embrace the police. We have to embrace the job creators. We have to try to lower taxes in the richer, whiter neighborhoods so they don't go to Scarsdale and other communities, upscale communities that don't tax nearly as much. And in terms of the cops, my goodness, I voted for Giuliani and Bloomberg.
No shit. What a shock.
The change in the city over those 5 terms was extraordinary. It was a functioning, workable, integrated city where the goals and the dreams of socialists were realized with the fruits of capitalism. So I think that this kid is way, way off the mark. But I also believe that if all these people run on independent lines, as promised now, Eric Adams, Andrew Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, he could win.
Yeah.
You could have the first young Muslim, mayor of the biggest Jewish city in North America. It could.
I want to ask you, Casey, just out of curiosity. How do you feel about that? It's okay. Hey, listen.
Okay, he brings up socialism quite a bit there, and Okay, Bernie Sanders tried it, but he called his democratic socialism.
Yeah.
You know, because he didn't want to integrate himself into what would be known as regular, like Fidel Castro socialism or shit like that, right?
Communism. He's trying to.
Yeah, he's trying to put himself away. You know, get himself far enough away to where he can say democratic socialism. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been proven. What he's saying there also, though, I mean, can you rewind that just like 20 seconds and listen to his last 20 seconds real quick?
I can, absolutely. I'd be happy to do that. Sandor says, by the way, we still have to pay bills in my socialist country. Sorry. And then he said, sorry.
I mean my communist country.
And he kind of talked about it earlier. I wonder your opinion on that as well, Casey, because we kind of hashed it out. He said that he feels like a lot of Americans, they think of socialism as a bad word and immediately tie it to communism. And he wants to be clear, like there's a distinct difference between
there is happy 2 hours, by the way, for your stream. There is a distinct difference between communism and socialism, but the United States doesn't want to ever put it into layman's as to what they are because it fears the main two parties, which are Democratic and Republican. Then you have moderates. So think about this, okay?
Yeah.
You have one wing that is out here. You got an eagle. You got one.
Oh yeah.
One wing goes this way. One wing goes this way. Here in the middle, the body of it is the moderates. Okay. This is where people see in the middle. So this is the base of everything you have. But then you have the wings that are going out, right? That are what are flying you. You have conservatism, and then you have liberalism, right? So you have those two flying, and you have moderatism in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? Okay, here's what I would say that from what I've seen, at least in my lifetime. Watch when the State of the Union happens, okay? This is a great example of what United States politics are.
Please, yeah.
When you have a Democrat that is president, so let's say, let's skip Biden, because that was kind of, I don't even want to talk about Biden. Let's go to Obama, okay?
Yeah, let's go.
So when you see the floor, when Obama would speak, all the Democratic side, the liberals, and where the moderates are, all in the middle, and you're going to see a lot of them stand, and even some of the conservatives standing. Okay. Yeah. And they'll stand for policies or words that they agree with, and they'll all stand up, right? Yeah. Go to Trump when Trump does it. When Trump is doing
crying on their knees saying, fucking thank you, God. My God, Trump. People are calling him daddy and shit. But yeah, no, go ahead.
No. Keep preach, please, though, because that's
no. I'm just saying it gets weird. People
Dude,
are like,
it does.
It's my wife, Mr. Trump. Yeah.
I mean, dude, he is a god to him.
He is a god.
He's a god to him, man. Oh, I worship my Lord, and I worship Mary. That's it. That's it. And like mother, I'm a Catholic, but that's who I worship. All right.
I feel that. Yeah.
I don't worship Trump, but dude, you will see this. I'm telling you. Watch the next State of the Union, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Watch when you see they're going to be on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the right. Watch, dude. They are like fucking.
It's so true.
The only thing they're missing is Allah Akbar, you know, some of that shit. That's all they're missing, and they're doing that. The United States, with what your question is, with you're talking about what were the two that he was going against there? I want that question again because it is.
I might have lost myself.
Socialism, and communism.
Oh yeah. He was talking about socialism.
Okay. Yep. There's a big difference. Socialistic countries, you think of Cuba is the main one. So think of what Cuba did when Castro was there. Okay, communistic countries,
extremely resilient country. Let's just be clear about that.
No, true, but you get what I'm saying, though.
Of course.
And now you can think about communistic countries right now, and there's still plenty of them.
Yeah,
there's a big difference in the lifestyle of how their people live. Okay, that's one of the main differences. In communistic countries, you literally have like small amounts of shit you're going to get, and they dictate how many fucking children you have, man, and this is a real thing.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Yeah, I can get on that. Yeah, but I mean, so when you say that, you're talking about like foreign communism, like authoritarian communism.
Authoritarian, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But like what Sandor here is talking about, he's just using communism as like a funny thing, like a he, because he's saying like Americans that are against socialism, they hear socialism and they think communism.
No, it's not. No, those aren't two of the same seed. No,
yeah,
they're not.
Yeah.
But and there's also a difference between direct socialism and democratic socialism. Bernie Sanders is not incorrect with when he says that. I mean, a lot of people will say that he is.
Yeah.
But he was one of the first ones that actually was open enough in the United States, especially in the Senate, to actually say, okay, there's a differentiation between actual socialism and democratic socialism.
Yeah.
That's something that if I was lying to you, I'd lie to you.
Please, yeah, don't.
I don't know enough about the ins and outs, but I guarantee you democratic socialism is not near to the extent of actual Cuban, for instance, socialism.
Okay.
You know, and I don't want to say shit that I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I feel you, and I respect you for even saying that. Yeah, so I totally feel you on that. I think so. Think about the society that we live in today. We currently have a hybrid society, and we enjoy certain aspects of socialism today. And not to like beat a dead horse, because people on here earlier kind of heard me make this comparison, but you might have even heard me, I don't know, but we have things like the fire department, for example. Like that's socialism.
I got one in my literally my backyard, bro.
There you go.
Well, it's outside but it's right there. Like you can see them.
So if your house catches on fire, they're going to come and they're going to put it out, and they're not going to expect you to pay for it. And if your house and your neighbor's house are burning down, for example, they're not going to choose who to put out based off who's able to pay them the most. So it's like we don't have a purely capitalist, like dog eat dog society. We have certain services that the government supplies based off the taxes and things like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's like I think democratic socialists, those are people that want to lean more into those programs, want to make our country more centered around those kind of values and providing those things for our citizens, rather than not spending the money there and then spending the money in these like foreign entanglements, or subsidizing countries' military, so then they turn around and then they have a socialized healthcare system. Like Israel is an example of that. The amount of money that we send them in defense allows them on the other end to provide socialized healthcare for their people.
That's money that we're paying for.
Exactly. I do want to note here, Sandor said when you said the wing thing, this was funny. That's why I chuckled. I wasn't chuckling at you. He just put
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, you said the eagle with two wings. He said two cheeks of the same butt.
The same butt. Yeah.
Really depends on how you look at it. Although I could take that a little disrespectful, Sandor, now that you said you're not American, brother. This country's not an ass, brother. We're an eagle. We're not an ass. All right. And the independents aren't the asshole. You are for making that comment. All right, hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 second. And so Sandor also says here, social means me and you, as in the people. If you want to get meta, a socialist is a populist. What it means is instead of $1 trillion for war, it goes back into the country. Yeah, I like that. You're making it sound good, Sandor. You're selling me, brother. Sandor says, want your mind blown, sit down, okay? As well as social health care, we have private too, mind blown. So yeah, they're able to have both. So if you want to seek out the private health care, you can also do that option. Sandor, I need to know where you live, brother. You need to go ahead.
Man, this has got to be in like Iceland. You got to be in Iceland or Scandinavia somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm wondering. He said he's in a socialist / communist country, so I'm curious exactly. But you don't have to dox yourself.
Nothing's wrong with it. I'm not talking shit.
Sure. But offline, I'm just curious. If you want to, I understand people like their privacy. New Zealand, oh, bro, hell yeah.
New Zealand, oh, Aota, Atua.
This man you just wrote a jingle for a New Zealand commercial. I love it. Like fucking come
That's
visit
the New Zealand national anthem.
Oh, okay. I love it. Sandor, listen, is it racist of me to ask if you fucking do the haka? It's the only thing I'm ignorant. I don't know. Okay, I wasn't gonna do it. But at the same time, this man is also a fan of the Redskins, so just excuse him. He's a big fan of racial appropriation. Don't play. We're having a great time. We're very lit.
I got it. All right, let's listen to these boys again.
Yeah, let's see what they got to say. And if at any point you gotta,
By the way, he said New Zealand.
Yeah, he did. That is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this back up. I'll be right back. And then KC, if at any point you got to slide, no pressure, brother. But I'll be right back.
But this is New Zealand's flag, but I got to throw it the right way.
Oh shit, he's tied in with the fucking New Zealanders, man.
This is New Zealand's flag, boys.
What's the connection? Like, I'm just curious.
It's just a long connection.
Oh shit, can't even be speaked on. I can't even speak on that.
I'll tell you about it one day.
Yeah, tell me about it offline. How you're tied in with the fucking New Zealand mafia.
It's not the mafia. It's not the mafia.
The Maori people. How he's tied in with the fucking Maoris.
It's the Maori, not the Maori. It's the Maori.
Oh, okay. Our haka is your Pledge of Allegiance. Hey, fair enough. Okay. The Pledge of Allegiance is, when you put it that way, our Pledge of Allegiance is pretty fucking. It's kind of whack. We're not really doing as much to pledge to our fucking flag. You guys got a whole fucking dance routine. Some of the kids in my class wouldn't even put their fucking hand over their heart.
Take their hats off or nothing, man.
Bro, some of them sat down like Kaepernick and said, "Fuck it." That was before Kaepernick's time.
That's a whole nother discussion, brother.
Brother, I went to school with some Black Panthers. All right, that's just all I can say.
Dude, you know.
All right, yeah, great time. Let's go ahead.
It could happen, and it could happen particularly if the sore of Gaza continues to deep.
Yeah, I think you're right. Lindy.
By the way, wouldn't that be beautiful, guys?
Well, actually, it would be an amazing thing. It would be an amazing thing. And I actually thought Jake, that the way Geraldo framed it earlier, that hundreds of young Jewish people, male and female, who actually do not share the view that of their parents and grandparents, that you have to have just blind, devoted loyalty to Israel, particularly if its government is behaving in the way that it's currently behaving in Gaza.
And they voted for a Muslim mayor. And isn't that a beautiful thing about America? I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing about America, that we don't care about religion, that young Jewish voters and young Christian and Muslim voters vote for a Muslim candidate because they believe in his economic message and his message of justice? That's what America is supposed to be all about, that we forget about this race and religion stuff and vote on the substance.
You talk about him implementing change, but all of his promises are lies. When we can go through and debunk every single one. For example, he says he wants to offer free buses, but guess what's going to happen then? If you don't charge anything for buses, there's no funding for transportation coming in. So how are you going to maintain your infrastructure fleet? And if you control rent, the supply of housing is going to decrease.
I need you to rewind about 20 seconds.
Well.
Oh shit, you asked me to rewind anyways. Yeah, my bad.
Just a quick thing you need to hear for sure. You need to there's one thing you need to hear. The dude next to Piers Branson or Bronson, whatever his name is, you need to hear what he says like 20 seconds ago. And it is
so it's 31:30. Let's just bring it back to the 31 minute
right
mark.
Right here.
You talk about him implementing change, but all of his promises are lies.
All good. 31. Let's just go from right here. All right, and here I'll grab these comments actually real quick. It's actually because we all like to wear skirts, and that's the real crime of communism. Yeah, no, exactly. I need to know more. I need to know more about your culture, Sandor.
They don't.
Oh yeah,
they're not wearing skirts.
Hey, look.
We need libertarianism.
Yeah, we need libertarianism, not a war, welfare dependent state. We don't need to intervene in other countries' affairs. And he's just saying, for example, Israel. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with the second half of that. I mean, I think a welfare dependent state is something where you're kind of like emotionally loading your kind of stance there. Welfare on its own for the public isn't a bad thing. So it's just it gets kind of
convoluted.
It gets demonized in this way with people like some people who would support libertarianism, where it's like, oh, hey, just support yourself. Everybody take care of themselves and everything will be all right. Well, it's like it's kind of interesting the people that end up supporting that sometimes. I'm just saying people that are not in a position to where, you know, something like the state support would actually make a material difference in their life. So it's easier to make that kind of claim. But look, hey, I voted for a libertarian before either, so I'm not totally against that. I think there's a lot of good values that libertarianism actually does hold. So I'm not totally against it. I understand the thought process. It's just at this point in my life, I think my perspective has evolved to a point where I just don't really think it actually addresses the society that we live in today. But okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start this back up, and we'll see if this is where you wanted. Just let me know if we need to go back
to Israel, particularly if its government is behaving in the way that it's currently behaving in Gaza.
And
I
they
have
voted
to
for a
address what you
Muslim
said
mayor.
earlier,
And
please.
isn't that
I've
a
been dying
beautiful
to
thing
answer
about
you.
America? I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing about America that we don't care about religion, that
Pause
young
that.
Jewish voters and young Christian
Yep. All right. Yes, sir.
We don't care about religion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that
this dude just said we don't care about religion. I'm sorry, I must have missed a lot of things in my entire lifetime in the United States. We don't care about religion.
Yeah, no, we definitely do care about religion. That's true.
I don't understand that. I remember after 9/11 happened, a lot of innocent Muslims that were in the United States getting
beat up,
fucking chopped down for no reason.
Yeah,
because of what happened. I believe that there's a lot of Americans that are Christians in the United States that have done a lot of shit to Catholics because of what the Catholic Church had got called out on, but they never wanted to talk about what the Christian churches did. But we'll save that for another day. And what some of the fathers had done, and I'm a Catholic, I understand what they did was heinous and it was fucking disgusting. But a lot of Catholics got fucked up for it. The United States definitely cares about religion. Yeah. I mean, that right there, that comment is asinine and ludicrous.
That is false. That is false. So I'm actually glad you rewinded this because this was the second part of what I wanted to ask you, and I forgot because we got off on what we were talking about. But it was good. It was good. So. Do you personally have any issue with there being somebody who's a Muslim who gets elected as a state official? Is there any reason you personally would have an issue with that?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so that's what they're addressing here, and I think that's what his statement. Although you're 100% correct to say it's statement, it doesn't make any sense actually. But where these people are saying like, isn't it crazy that New York City is going to have a Muslim mayor? His point is to say like, isn't that actually a beautiful thing about America? That
it is beautiful, but you can't continue with that statement by saying that the United States doesn't care about religion, because we absolutely do. We actually persecute people for it still to this day.
But I think that what he's saying, though, is like I agree that if you take his statement 100% literally, then it is false. So I agree with you on that. But I think
yes, I agree that to what you're saying. I agree that it is. Yeah. It is a beautiful thing for that to happen. Absolutely, especially in New York City. You know, that makes it even better.
Exactly, and it is kind of evidence that where there is why his statement's wrong, because there is a lot of people in America that care about religion and place that as a very important thing in their life. Evidence of him being elected in New York City, which isn't a Muslim dominant city. Like it's not
exactly,
elected because the Muslim vote came out. He got elected because there were a lot of people who were probably Christians, atheists, Jews even. So I mean, where they're saying this is the second most Jewish population of any city in the country. Well, I mean, hey, he democratically got elected by those people.
Yeah.
Let's just, let's just be okay with that. But
Sandor, I'm absolutely okay with it. But to say that the United States doesn't care about religion is a falsity.
No, well, that's true. Like I said, I think that, but I think like the actual, I guess actually the true meaning of what he was trying to get across is
meaning behind it. Yeah.
But I agree, it's a false statement. Sandor says everybody that's against social safety nets can say no thanks when full automation comes for your job. Won't sound so bad then. I mean, that is interesting, and I think Sandor, that's a great point, because that's another thing that makes this an even more kind of like, it's now we're on kind of like a timeline where it's like society is now getting to the point to where there's going to be a lot of these jobs that are eliminated, and you're going to have some kind of like AI or something take care of it. And then at that point, in order for you not to have, a huge portion of your population starving, therefore becoming civilly unrested, I think it's going to be a situation that, you have to have some kind of plan for.
Right.
And they're openly talking about, like, I've heard like even Peter Thiel and stuff saying like where, at some point there's not going to be a need for a human workforce. Well, I mean, at that point, how do you address that if it's not some version of socialism or I don't know. But I mean, it's an interesting problem. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I'm agreeing completely with you there, because when that becomes the social norm, like when it becomes that there's no need for a human workforce anymore, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a scary thing, because in a capitalist society, like technically, I've kind of, I've had debates on this channel about this, because it is an interesting kind of philosophical issue for a capitalist society to confront, because it's all based off like kind of like supply and demand and need to need and production. So it's like once you get to the point to where those people aren't needed for the production, then their leverage is completely gone.
Exactly.
And then the employer doesn't have any kind of like social obligation to give you a job. We just think in capitalism, they will give you a job because, they're going to need that in order to upscale their business and so on and so forth. Go ahead.
Think about it though. Wouldn't it make sense that at that point that the employer would start being a little worried as well? Because what's the need for him? They're already outproducing what he was paying for. So there's no real need for him at this point, because he's the one that's finding these applicants that are, they have the readiness to be able to have that job. They have the skills they need for it.
If he's the owner, why does he care? He profits regardless. His profit actually jumps up.
But what happens when his job gets taken?
The owner doesn't have a job. It's the thing. I mean, some owners do work.
You don't think these robots are going to be smart enough to be able to do it though? That's what I'm getting at.
Eventually. I do think eventually. I don't know what that timeline looks like, but absolutely. I think eventually.
I don't think it's too far off, brother.
No, well, that's why we're in agreement. I think that's going to happen. But then the thing is, I mean, so if a human owns something and they're able to pay for whatever it's going to cost for the upkeep of this robotic workforce that you're using, and for different industries, obviously you're going to need robots to do different things and all that kind of thing. So yeah, I think at that point the employer, they're not going to be threatened, aside from the fact that they'll be threatened by other companies with more capital that can supply a larger robotic workforce that can produce more at a lower cost.
And that can only last for so long until they can take over what you're doing. See, they can become stronger than you. See, they're already smarter than us. That's why they're high. That's why they're going to use them, right? They're already more efficient.
I think you're having a different conversation, but not one that I'm not interested in. I think you're basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your conversation is getting to like basically a robot AI overthrow of humanity.
Not AI, just robotic engineering is in when they're there. Yes, you're correct in what you're saying.
Okay, brother, please remember this, because I want to come back to it, but I just realized we had quite a few comments flood in. So let me hit these up.
Your channel, bro. It's your channel, bro. That's all you gotta say.
Good, brother. Well, I just like to be polite and stuff like that. We're vibing.
No, man, that's your channel, bro. You're good. Man.
I got no reason to be an asshole, but I love it. We're vibing. This is a good conversation. And by the way, anybody that just is tuning in, because I saw Wiggy Wom down there. Shout out to you, brother. I'm gonna get to your comment. I mentioned you earlier. I was missing you, but I knew that I was going live a little later than usual. So it's like I understood if it was going to be if you weren't able to make it tonight. But I'm glad you hopped in here. Sandor Clegane, I wanted you to meet this guy. This guy, he's been doing a you know what I mean? He's been hopping in here and really adding to the conversation. So I was interested in you guys being able to go back and forth and share some of your views. But yeah, so Sandor and fucking Wiggy Wom, introduce yourselves to each other. You guys are two fucking awesome viewers, and I appreciate you guys finding the channel. I'm glad we've been able to vibe like this. M here. So M, thank you for coming back around and tuning in again. He said there is no MAGA. There was only MIGA, which the entire time, which I'm assuming that's make Israel great again. I mean, brother, we're in full agreement on that one. I will say the entire panel is thumbs up. You nailed it. We already had a Muslim president, Obama. And that's true. So why are we even fucking that concerned? That was right after 9/11. Think about how fucking cool Americans are that they immediately did that. Muslims have more in common with Christianity than Judaism. The whole Judeo-Christian thing is to keep U.S. Americans supporting Israel. Very interesting there. And I agree with that. Actually, I listened to a debate that was talking about that exact topic the other day, where they were saying, like, why does the Judeo-Christian kind of ideology not include Islam in that, since they're Abrahamic, or why not just call it like Abrahamic? So that's an interesting point. And I could definitely see how that's kind of just verbiage that's used to keep people separated. Fact check said libertarianism doesn't support monopollinization or anything that endangers civil liberties. We just don't want our taxes going to reckless spending in Congress. Okay, so let's see here. Shout out to you for that fact check. And shit, with a name like fact check, how can I even fucking argue? Sandor here says both believe in Jesus. They see in the Quran as the third book of the Bible. Yeah, and I think that, well, I mean, so the main difference, but the same difference exists between the Quran and the Torah, as far as, like, neither of them recognize Jesus as God. But you are correct. Actually, that's an interesting point, because the Quran actually recognizes Jesus as a prophet, where I'm not sure if the Torah recognizes him in any fashion. I think it's just a full on not fucking with Jesus.
Muhammad is
it's already happened. You said what?
Muhammad is the basis of the Quran. That's where you go to. That's where you go to Mecca for. You go to the Kaaba. You got to have your trek to.
Exactly. That's 100% right. If you're going to step in the Kava bar, then you got to fucking bone up on your Quran. Sandor said, that's a fact. One, we lose the ability to use industrial action. We have no leverage, no power. Exactly. So we're moving in that direction. He's talking about the AI thing. The death of materialism and the birth of the noose. That says SPL. From my I can't exactly tell what that says. It looks like it says SPL world. Now I'm gonna assume that you're just saying the new fucking spirit world, but you go ahead and let me know what the fuck I'm missing there, WikiWom. Oh, spiritual world. No, that's what he meant. Hell yeah. Okay, he corrected it down there. No, I'm with you. We all just gotta become monks and stop fucking liking shit like PS5s and fucking food to be delivered right to your door. Fact check says our national debt has exceeded 30 trillion. I doubt our country will even exist in 10 years time. Golly, go place the bet on Poly Market. I want to see what those odds are. Fact check.
Odds would be, yeah.
He made a bold claim. Sandor Clegane here says, what will happen is the rich will consolidate more. There won't be the bootstrap guys who build a business. Everything will be in the hands of the few. Is I think what you meant to put. Yeah, hands. All right, perfect. Yes, sir. And then let's see here. WikiWom says overpopulation is a problem to powerful resource controlling private equity. Yeah, you're gonna have to loosen up on those. Cobra is going down the transhumanism route. That's coming too. We will be digital one day. I don't even know. Look, shit. Good evening, by the way, WikiWom. Yeah, shout out to you, brother. Like I already said it earlier, I was looking forward to you hopping in here, but I understand it was a little late for a good man in Texas, but you ended up hopping in here and rocking with us regardless, and I appreciate it. And like I said, show some love to Sandor, man. He stepped up, and it's definitely been an awesome vibe. I look forward to many live streams in the future with getting your guys' opinions on these things. And also, like I said, open invitation. I dropped the link in the comments already. You guys are welcome to hop up in here if you'd like. You guys are also all just great dudes, so hop up in here. We can vibe if you'd like. Otherwise, if you want to kick back in the comments, I get that, because sometimes I'm like, I don't want to hop on camera. I just want to sit here and talk some shit. I respect that as well. And thank you for boosting the algorithm. You know, you really made it happen tonight. It's almost fucking 5 a.m. where I'm at. So
I even give you a thumbs up. You just got number 10. There you go.
Hell yeah, brother. There we go. We're in the building. And make sure you like. For anybody that's in here, we got 10 people watching right now. So I know some of y'all did not hit like, show some love. Copy the share thing, even if you're not going to share it. Somebody one time told me that helps. So just do that. It's not going to hurt you at all. And make sure you subscribe so you can be around for more vibes. They are abundant in the future. So M says, why don't they ever read the rest of the Old Testament? I've read all of the holy books, not only the parts that speak highly of them.
That's a really good point.
And maybe he's responding to this. So if I type what the Talmud and Torah think, my comment would get deleted. Fair enough. Yeah, that kind of speech is not allowed on YouTube, but shit, let's go to war with countries about it. You feel what I'm saying? Let's just let us talk about it. I'm a big free speech guy. Let's just talk about the shit. Fuck it. Fact check here. My brother from the libertarian race says all the Abrahamic religions have deplorable contents. However, anyone is free to practice any religion as long as it's not forced onto others. I'm not laughing because that's not a reasonable take. That's a totally reasonable take. And I even agree with it, but it's just such a libertarian take, even how you said it, like how you started off saying it's all terrible and deplorable, but people should be able to do it. And I agree with that. Honestly, I'm with that. M says it feels kind of forced, doesn't it? Damn, M, brother, I don't know what you're referring to there. But there's a lot of conversation going. Wam says some feel that Muhammad was a Jewish Messiah. In some ways, that may be why what is considered modern Jewry and the evangelicals absolutely hate Islam. Or the Israelite Messiah. Yeah. Do not try to come through and fucking claim you're the chosen people. That shit has already got fucking claimed. You gonna hop back in here, brother?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, yes, sir.
Muslim voters vote for a Muslim candidate because they believe in his economic message and his message of justice. That's what America is supposed to be all about, that we forget about this race and religion stuff and vote on the substance.
You talk about him implementing change, but all of his promises are lies. When we can go through and debunk every single one. For example, he says he wants to offer free buses, but guess what's going to happen then? If you don't charge anything for buses, there is no funding for transportation coming in. So how are you going to maintain your infrastructure fleet? And if you control rent, the supply of housing is going to decrease and the quality will decrease as well. And most importantly, though, who's going to pay for it? When the governor of New York herself, Kathy Hochul, vowed that she would not be raising taxes. So every single thing he said was actually a lie. Either he knew it or he doesn't. I don't know which is better. Is it deception
it's not a lie?
Well, I just told you. I gave
Lindy,
you three
it's not a lie.
examples of things that could just cannot happen because the governor is not raising taxes. He can't operate in a vacuum. Okay, not everyone is a communist. You have to partner with other people in the government and collaborate. It's a whole of government approach.
So,
it's
Lindy,
not a microcosm.
You're saying you disagree with his approach, but to say that it's a lie doesn't make sense. No, he really does want free buses, and he has a plan for free buses. Now, you can say, hey, I don't think that plan is going to work, and I think it's going to have negative consequences. Well, good news. Let's hope we're about to find out, okay?
Okay, pause that real quick. And you can
work out.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, if you can rewind 10 seconds when he says all this. I love when politicians say shit like this. So rewind 10 seconds. When she questions him, you might say he's going to say this and he's going to say this, but we don't know if this is going to happen. So he's already doubting it. He doesn't say it is going to happen. He says we don't know if it is going to happen. Sandor said, like, I can't beat off to Lindy. Can we get some?
I actually have some Anna Kasparian like already loaded up. I have a conversation with her and actually Chank, the guy on the screen, where they're just like shitting on their entire viewer base because Chank was really big over this last year. He's in like, hey, he's a liberal guy, and he's like, hey, we need to create a coalition with some conservatives, and I actually agree with him, to be honest. He's like,
I agree to an extent, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, we need to find some of these issues that we have commonality on and really fight on those grounds because, you know, whatever his perspective is, the country's being taken and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, and that's the conversation I have with him and Anna Kasparian. So they're having this real like war with their channel where their channel's now kind of more representative of further left views than what they're representing at this point. So
Right.
I'm probably not gonna get. So just a little teaser. I'm gonna try to come on tonight around 9 o'clock Eastern time. And I'll probably have that video because my daughter actually just opened up the door, so she woke back up. So I got to finish this video, then I got to hop off. Sadly, because the vibe is just so fucking beautiful. But you know, people got to take care of their kids and shit. So let's go ahead and fire this thing back up.
And he has a plan for free buses. Now, you can say, hey, I don't think that plan is going to work, and I think it's going to have negative consequences. Well, good news. Let's hope we're about to find out, okay?
Well,
and maybe you're wrong. Maybe the free buses totally work out. And in fact, there are different ways to finance it.
I think he went into the campaign knowing that he was offering false promises to the New York people. Another thing that I find extremely alarming is saying that he said his ultimate goal is to seize the means of production. That is something straight out of Animal Farm right there. It has no place in the United States of America.
He certainly has. He's got a lot of quotes on his track record. I want to pivot just before we finish this. Rudy, I want to talk to
Let me hit these comments real quick. And if you have anything to say about that, please feel free. So Israelis like to remind us of the 800 years of Islamic slavery. Also not a fan. And then we got that comment that Sandor said I can't beat off to Lindy. That's fair. Hey man, look, you're a man of high conviction as far as at least your cock has conviction. I salute you for that, brother. Not every man can say that. Some men will go ahead and fluff their shit up and they'll make it happy with Lindy on the screen, believe it or not. So fact check says religious wars, the most dangerous of them all. Some Jews believe Netanyahu is the Jewish Messiah. I have seen that as well. Fact check. Look, brother, we have, like I said, people like you. We can make a coalition. Yeah, that's some crazy shit that we just cannot abide by. Yeah. Can we have debates around the fucking differences and like whether or not we should fucking pay property tax and shit? And can we just get into the real shit, which is the wars need to not be happening? I think that's really like
exactly
that's the life or death shit. The other shit we can come to some kind of compromise and like diplomatic understanding. There's some shit that we just cannot sit by and just abide by. Like the Irish say, free Palestine. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
I'm Irish too.
Oh, that's why I said it. So then Sandor says Anna changed when she got told to refer to herself as person with a uterus. She knew the left had gone too far at that moment. And she was kind of, I mean, she was fair on that, but at the same time, you can't allow people to force you to change your principles based off things that are unrelated. You could still not stand next to those people and say, well, we still might have some things that we agree on, but that shit they're fucking completely off base on. So
I mean, I would just call it a bitch move, but
there you go. You could call it also that. But yeah, like I have some faith with Anna Kasparian, and I don't know if you've seen this. It's not the video that I have to react to here, but there's another video where I saw her debating with Cenk, and she's like, anybody that doesn't see it at this point, just fucking stop the bullshit as far as like, oh,
exactly. I like that.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
I love when motherfuckers call a spade a spade.
Call a spade.
You know? Shit. Say what it is.
Say what it is and don't say what it's not.
It is.
100%. And then here, so let's get through these. Sandor said, and the shit. So that's the one that I just read. And then, Lindy, the irony of bringing to Animal Farm in this discussion. She really is not smart.
Yeah, that's Karl Marx. That's Karl Marx he's talking about right there at the Animal Farm. Yeah, that's what he's referring to. That was a communist manifesto right there.
It's ironic. Well, Animal Farm is, I think that's just a book about kids that are, I think, taken care of. Or no, that's Lord of the Flies.
No.
Yeah, here, go ahead. You're good. I'll let you cook, brother.
What they're talking about right there? They're talking about what the fuck was it called? Animal Farm. Animal Farm is an alliteration to Karl Marx about communism.
Well, I'm sure it's about communism in a way, but I'm saying like I don't know that it's from Karl Marx. That's not what you're saying, right?
No, not by him, but it's through that ideology is what I was getting at. Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, and what I was talking about was Lord of the Flies. It wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
But so I pulled up. So here I got it actually. Now, Animal Farm was actually from George Orwell. So there you go, satirical novelist. He did 1984 as well, which I'm sure.
Yeah, 84. I had to read that in high school or middle school, high school.
Yeah. So interesting shit. So Wiggy says the first step to overcoming capitalism is rejecting materialism. One step on that path is spiritual enlightenment, Gnosticism, and the realization Jesus tried to free us from the materialistic. Okay, very cool. And you get on here and you talk your Gnosticism shit. I want to hear it. I know it has something to do with like not like there being like a fake God that came as all kinds of crazy shit. So yeah, I want to hear some more about that, Wiggy Wom. I dislike the part where someone else represents me, my interest, and the way I do things. I don't bomb children's hospitals. I'm glad that's good. And everybody else should also make that admission in the comments. And if you don't, then I'm gonna question because now the M put it on the table. Now I'm starting to think Sandor, New Zealand, really? Really? Are you sure? Okay. Wiggy Wom says enslavement of the demigus of man's creation, Yahweh. Brother, I don't even know. That is it the demiurge? I think it's the demiurge, right?
That's a demiurge, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sandor says Trump never said no new wars. He said no new wars.
Yeah, he used the comma.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Brother. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I've never heard that one. That's really good. Sandor, Wiggy, y'all also go make sure to follow me on Twitter if you have Twitter, like because I'll get on there and I'll talk shit sometimes. I don't have any kind of fucking following over there, but it's like I would like to interact with y'all and shit like that. You're interesting guys and just fucking funny as fuck, bringing it to the conversation. That's fucking hysterical. Wiggy Wom says there's a video of a rabbi telling Netanyahu he will be the last prime minister. Okay, yeah, I've seen that actually, and they will be led by the Messiah next. Yeah, I've seen that. Wiggy Wom, total facts, and that shit is just eerie. I mean, the same way that these people demonize fundamental Islamists, and I get it that it's scary. It's like I feel the same way about the fundamental fucking Jews. No disrespect, don't take me down from Twitter. I mean, don't take me down from YouTube. I'm not even on Twitter right now. M says technically it's not new. Since it's just the same wars that have been going on since forever. Trump probably. No, the salesman spin on this is fucking legendary. Oh, then okay, thank you, Sandor, for clearing that up for us as well. Animal Farm is Orwell, the 1984 author. It's not about communism. Okay, so he says that the book's actually not about communism. So that's a whole nother thing you guys will have to get into separately. But, hey, look. We can make it a book show. You know what I'm saying? We got book talk, and that's what it needs to be. Fact check. Fact check says Trump, Ukraine. We will end this war before the inauguration. We will end this war in 24 hours. We will end this war in 2 weeks. Reporter asks, why didn't the war end in 24 hours? He said, it's a joke. Fact check. Like I said, the fact that your name is Fact Check is a sick fucking twist. Because it sounds like I have to be speaking facts. M says, doesn't that literally match the description of the Antichrist from the Bible? Hey, I actually had that as a topic. We didn't get deep into it on the other episode that I had, but that is an interesting thought that I've also had, where it's like, it's eerie when you start to see these people with like these end times kind of ideology, and then they want to hasten it. And they're like, how do we make it happen? We got to knock down this fucking, and we got to build the third Temple Mount and shit. And it's like, I feel like prophecy is supposed to kind of organically take place. I don't think you're supposed to self-fulfill the prophecy. You know, it kind of
you can't.
Yeah, no, that's how you get fucking Anakin Skywalker when it's supposed to be Luke Skywalker. Or something. You know what I'm saying? It's about power making people go against their own. That's a very simplistic overview. Oh, okay. This is Animal Farm, I think is what he's talking about here. So he's saying it's about power making people go against their own. That's a very simplistic overview. So power basically turning people that are of like class or whatever.
But, I mean, it's
yeah. Fair enough. We probably get into that's probably something that is a deeper conversation because even Sandor is saying that's a simplistic overview. But I could even see just based off like that kind of reading of his interpretation.
Well, I mean, it's literally a 45 satirical novella about the rise of Stalinism.
Okay.
So, I mean,
there you go. Okay. Well, and then we got, go ahead. If you have anything else you want to say on it, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you know what Stalinism would have been. So,
yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. So then we'll put it out there so Sandor can respond. It says the meme you used for this video thumbnail, so right. Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, I was seeing kind of like similar memes to it on Twitter, so I just wanted to spin it and put it on there, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that because all the shit that happens and also KC can say that for his channel as small independent creators, all the shit that comes to you, as humble as it may seem or as glamorous as it may seem, it's all from us and we're all making it happen as we go. So I appreciate from the thumbnail to the fact my audio is working tonight. That was all something that, you know, we work hard to do. So I appreciate you saluting that. So
and Jay Jonte, you know, that was hanging out with us. He would like to be on one of these here soon. I'll let him know next time. I think he's asleep right now, but he was like, bro, I want to come up there and talk too. I was like, I think I'll let you, you know.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. I welcome it. Let him know, or like I said, you can put us in touch or after whatever we can get in touch. But I'm planning on doing it tomorrow. If I follow through with what my intentions are and I'm putting it into the universe, I know you feel me when I say that.
Yeah.
But my intentions are tomorrow to go live at 9, and then like I said, I'll probably have somebody in studio with me, but I still love to have people come through, so you can come through and or he can, it's whatever. But yeah,
I'll get a hold of him early today when I wake up and be like, because I ain't going on my channel today. I got my birthday coming up in 6 days, so I got shit I got to do for that. But you know, today for sure. I mean, if you're cool with him popping up, I got you.
Of course, but yeah. So Wiggy Wom says communism and capitalism are ultimately two sides of the same coin. It's still, and it is kind of like that if you play the game Civilization. Just want to point that out.
It is, and like hierarchical, like he's saying.
Exactly.
Right
there. Yeah. It's still hierarchical system of economic arrangements. Ultimately, economic systems come and go based on material desires. Yeah. I think that's a good kind of explanation for as to why the system that we have right now has to change, because it's clear that it's not really. Oh, here we go. So Sandor, he's respect. So he's saying Cobra is right, but it's not communism good, it's communism bad. And
exactly.
I think
that's what I was trying to say. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that was what you meant as well. So yeah, that makes sense. And then he's saying power corrupts, all that jazz. So just kind of the absolute power corrupts absolutely kind of deal. So when you give all the power to the state, and this is the fear mongering, but there's like some truth to it, obviously. And I think in order for any of these systems to be enacted in a way that's humane, we have to be mindful of those kind of like downfalls of just humanity. And when you put all the power in the power of the state, things could get a little dicey. But I think that's when you start to talk about things like communism. And to Sandor's point throughout this entire night is what people are typically advocating for is socialism, and then it gets thrown into the bucket to demonize it with communism, so people won't even consider its merits. So it's like, you know, definitely, I think it's a great conversation. And thank you for the education on Animal Farm. I missed that one, so that's interesting to hear about that.
About Donald Trump, because you could argue the last 2 or 3 weeks have been the best, really, of his entire time as president, first and second term combined. You've got this extraordinary strike on Iran's nuclear capabilities and a ceasefire coming when people did not anticipate that happening so quickly. He's got NATO to stump up to 5% of GDP on individual spending, a massive win at the Supreme Court, of course. You know, peace deal in Africa. He brought peace between India and Pakistan when that was flaring up. He's moving hard to try and get peace in Gaza. He's moving hard to try and get peace in Ukraine. If we end up at the end of the year and there is peace in Ukraine, there is peace in Gaza, and all the other things I've mentioned here, not to mention the southern border has pretty much stopped now having anyone coming over illegally, and the economy, if that is purring away as well, given that the stock market is pretty much back where it was before the tariff war started, so he's obviously pleasing the markets. If you put all that together, this could be a stunning, successful year for Trump.
Well, Piers knows a lot of ifs, but they're all ifs that he's aiming toward. And I think people, because of their insanity about him, haven't recognized that there's a different Donald Trump since Butler County. Much more serious, much more concerned about the future. much more concerned about life and death, and frankly, much more spiritual.
Yeah.
It's a different Donald Trump than the one Geraldo and you and I grew up with.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Cenk, I mean, putting aside the fact you can't stand him, do you acknowledge he's had a lot of wins?
Well, I
look, I give
That's for
credit.
Cenk, Rudy. That's for
Rudy,
Cenk.
that one's for me too. Yeah.
Well, I know
So,
there's a big
look, I give
noise
credit where
behind me,
credit
I'm
is
sorry.
due.
Yeah, give him
That's
credit.
So, yeah, no, on some things. So, look, I think that the budget bill's a disaster. I think that it's going to pass and it's going to create $4 trillion deficit. And they always give away tax cuts for the rich and then go, oh, golly gee, I don't know how we wound up with such a big debt. It's because of Republicans who passed these giant tax cuts. And I can go, and I don't like Marines in the streets. There's a million things that I criticize Donald Trump on that, and he deserves that criticism. But the proof's going to be in the pudding, right? So if he walks back all the tariffs, as he's in the middle of doing now, he closes the border, and this is the critical part. If he gets a two-state solution, which just sounds so unbelievable, right? But if he gets that to happen, then there's...
Reread it. Yeah, I'll definitely reread it. It's funny because I was looking at this comment and Wiggy, I see that you're
I'm playing WWE 2K.
He's flaming in the fucking comments, and I'm not trying to disrespect like the well thought out comment they put, but then Sandor put this and I wanted to stop the video so bad. Like I said, add me on Twitter, bro. We gotta tap in on the PS5 because I'm you see what's in the title. I'm not gonna get to it, so I'm gonna accidentally lie to the people. But the Monday Night Raw, I'm a viewer, and as far as I'm concerned, if you watch wrestling, you're 100% correct. You should have voting rights in this fucking country. If you watch fucking wrestling,
he's an honorary American.
Yeah. He said I'm playing WWE 2K on my stream deck. I'm an honorary American. Hell yeah!
I got the PS5 too, bro. I send you my fucking tag.
Yeah, we definitely tap in. I mean,
I saw you playing. Who were you playing, by the way, real quick? The other night you were playing Miami and Florida.
Yeah, I was Florida and I was playing Miami. I ended up I was losing at first, and I made a little.
I watched the whole thing. Was that somebody you didn't know?
No, I had no idea who they were. Yeah, they actually hit me up afterwards and was shit talking.
What was that first route you threw? You threw an out route when he had a corner rushing.
Brother, I don't even remember.
What are you doing there?
It was all a blur.
Dude, I was so pissed. I wanted to not watch.
You should have hopped on. You should have hopped on. My buddy Paul, he played quarterback as well. I told you, like, all the fucking people I still talk to from.
Yeah, dude, that pissed me off, bro. You
he hopped on. He's like
corner rush on a fucking out route, and you could see him. He was sitting on you, and you do that. Oh man. You did that twice, though. Not on that route, but the second one, you threw another out route, and he had a fucking linebacker that came in and picked.
Sometimes you gotta live dangerously, brother. That's the thing.
Bro, no. You don't live dangerously. Quit on those fucking out routes when they're running in nickel or dime.
Hey,
they're waiting for you.
That's a coward's mentality. I see a fucking home run. Sometimes I'm taking it. I don't give a fuck.
You're not doing home runs. I'm talking out routes.
Well, brother,
you hit the home runs. I saw you hitting the home runs.
I did hit a couple. I did hit a couple home runs. I appreciate you for mentioning those as well. But no, hey, like if you have college football, I would love to we can hop on there and talk shit while playing college football. That'd be nice and easy.
Man,
we can put all this political shit.
I don't want to do that to you, bro.
We can put all this political shit to bed. You know what I mean? And we can hop on the fucking CFB.
Hey, 26 about to come out too. I'll be getting that.
Yeah, I'll get that as well. I'm gonna be honest. I'm more of a Madden man personally, but I like that they brought the Instagram.
I'm sorry for interrupting your stream. Go ahead.
No, brother, that was beautiful. No, I'm glad we brought that back up, and it lets people know. Definitely check out the gaming streams from time to time. I don't do them often because, to be honest, I don't want to sit here and fucking have to entertain people. That's another thing. Like while I'm playing football, I'm having to try to be entertaining and funny, and I'm talking shit to this guy. I don't want to talk to him at all. So it's like when I'm sitting down to play games and I have time to finally sit down with the PlayStation, I want to just be chilling. Really, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to be doing this.
But if you're talking shit to somebody, it makes it different because we can run that motherfucker back.
Yeah, and if we're just shooting shit and stuff like that, it was just like I said. With that instance, it's more of people are welcome to be involved in a chat room if it's me or you. When I'm playing this guy I don't know, it's like I said, I have to be entertaining for the stream and shit. So it's I'm not fully focused. So it's a little different, and I just don't like the experience as much. I really don't like playing football games online because I swear there's a lag. I'm not trash.
No, dude, there is a lag. I'll notice a lot of times where I'm throwing a ball and that thing looks like it's just floating in the air for 30 seconds.
Oh,
I'm like,
bro.
dude,
Yeah.
get it there. Like, what is it sitting in the air for? And then it gets picked off, and I'm like,
get it there. No, I'm with you, brother. Yeah, that screen fucking to my eyes were bloodshot at the screen on that. But no, Sandor, we got to tap in. We can hop in. We can tag team. I'm calling Randy Orton though. That's all. That's all you need to know. And Wiggy Wom says, in terms of geopolitics, this is what KC, by the way, wanted me to go back and read. So Wiggy Wom says, in terms of geopolitics, one of the West's greatest blunders was not taking Putin's strategic genius seriously. He has tipped the world's economic pyramid on its head. Resources have typically been at the bottom of economic pyramid, finance and capital at the top. He has put an insane strain on the American imperial economic hegemon. So yeah, that's, I mean, just drop a fucking faction.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely. It is like a situation where we put they're underestimated not only the, I mean, maybe this is included in the strategic genius, but their ability to like flip over to a war economy and be, self-sufficient in a way. I mean, we don't really know exactly what's going on in their country. Maybe motherfuckers are starving like crazy. But they have been able to sustain through all these different sanctions and things. And we thought we'd be able to play this kind of like economic warfare, and they've been able to survive it. So I agree. Their ability to be adaptable has been really underestimated. So Wiggy Wom says his invasion of Ukraine has essentially exposed that fiat currency doesn't build armies, and you can only fool people to die for paper for so long. Sandor says make a Discord for your channel. I have some friends that have told me to do that, brother. I'm a little I don't know, like I'm illiterate when it comes to the fucking internet. I always really through my entire life I really avoided social media and shit. So it's like that's a big learning curve for me when I'm doing this. I love to get on here and have conversation and host conversations and have debates and stuff like that. But the whole like getting on Instagram and posting shit and doing all that, I struggle with it. But I am with you, and I know that advice comes from the heart, and it's good advice that I should take, and I appreciate it. So yes, a Discord, that's something I got to focus on, and you're not wrong. And it probably would be great. I'm so ignorant to really like all these kind of like corners of the internet. I don't even know really what the benefit of a Discord would be, but I know that what you're saying makes sense, and other people have told me that I trust. And then M says bunker busters of peace.
Yeah.
Hey, peace through strength. Peace through strength. Wiggy Wom says, yeah, our country is out of control. We are an empire, and every American is in denial of the rejection of our republic and liberty for imperialism in all but name. Oh, God, bro. Start a fucking blog, Wiggy Wom. Dude, the way, like, I just like reading your shit, brother. And Sandor says, yes, the lag. Yeah, brother. Thank you. Validate what I was saying. Come on. I'm not terrible. Sandor also says, we never left the feudal system. It just changed names. Peasants working the land. When the king needs money, they go to war. Damn.
Of course,
you guys are cooking up. I'm fucking too high, and it's fucking almost fucking working time for people in my area code. Sandor says, see the power of spectacles. I just assumed you were very smart. Or you were smart. Jokes. Yeah, fair enough. So go ahead. I gotta get back into here so we can try to power through this.
No way
video
that you
here.
can stop his popularity, because at that point he will be a peace president. He probably will win a Nobel Peace Prize, and it'll cement his legacy. And there's nothing that anybody can do about it. But that's a giant if, right?
Sure.
But if he allows Israel, which is much more likely, if he allows Israel to continue the slaughter in Gaza, he continues having them agitate for war in Iran. And he continues with the tariffs, he continues with Marines in the streets and National Guard in the streets, et cetera, then he's going to continue to be more and more unpopular. So the jury is very much out right now.
All right, Geraldo, I thought Rudy hit on something there. Rudy has slipped off into the night, I think, but thank you. Unexpected bonus to have him return. The thing you said, though, about Trump being a changed man since the assassination attempt,
Man got a phone call from his prostitute. She's downstairs. Step away. He said, fuck this Piers Morgan. So what the fuck am I arguing with Ben about?
Rudy said, I don't give a fuck about this right now, man. Fuck off this bit.
Oh my god. Yeah, he said, what the fuck? I have a whore that fucking knows not to fucking speak. I'm gonna sit here and argue with a bunch of sweaty men. No.
Yeah, you got like the horse teeth too, them big ass horse teeth in that bitch.
Yeah, he's tired of looking at this fucking bitch's balloon head to the fucking right. What's going on? Like, come on, you gotta.
Man, that ain't a forehead, bro. That's a 5'6" tops. Come on, bro.
No, definitely take the fucking tape measure to it.
I ain't even need that, man. Shit, look at that.
See you set up a stream. I don't know how to do that, but I could build a PC, brother. I will teach you how to set up a stream. It is fucking easy as hell.
Easy as hell, bro.
You help me fucking build a PC. I'll easily trade that fucking skill. I'll even show you how to bring these videos up on the shit. Plus, I'd love to, honestly, if you ever wanted to do it, I would love to. You've already done plenty for me in life by hopping on here and spending your night, day, whatever time it is in New Zealand, spending this time with me. It genuinely, for like I said, independent creators, I think it really does mean a lot. It's like we're normal people working on a full-time job, trying to support ourselves while getting fucking medicaid stress. It's like, brother, yes, sir. Come through here and support the stream. I appreciate it. Sandor says it takes a village, and I agree with that. I know how to do other shit than just set up the stream. I'm not going to just be the set up the stream guy in the village. Let's just be clear. That'd be a useless piece of shit to be like, yeah, this guy cuts down trees. This motherfucker hunts for all the food. This guy fishes. This guy's for fucking streams. My wife is at bingo. That's when I let the crazy loose on the internet. Yeah, brother, I'll shut this down so you can go ahead and throw the porn up. You know what I mean? I'm sorry that we're cutting into your porn time. The wife's out of the house. I apologize for that one. Let's go ahead and finish this Piers Morgan episode. We'll end the stream, but we'll let you get cooking. I know you got a limited amount of time with internet.
I've definitely detected that when I've talked to him. I also think he's a man who got a second lease at life, a second lease at the presidency, and he's on a mission, a real fast-track mission to get stuff done because he knows come the midterms that things may slow down. He might get paralyzed in terms of his ability to get stuff through. So he's on a mission in these first 2 years, I think.
My bad. I mean, I am trying to cruise this fucking part of this video, but I realized Wiggy Wom laid down some more fucking just facts. So let me get back to it. I'm sorry. I put this up.
The way we save America is for American men to feel like we have an integral part of the American tribe.
Yeah.
If such a thing can't exist, I'm not sure what American identity and culture is supposed to be anymore. I don't know either.
Wiggy Wom. That's a fucking Wiggy Wom fucking wet fact on your ass. Lay it. Laying truth bombs down. Every time we turn around, Wiggy Wom, I look in this comment section. You just fucking, you laid down some poetry that belongs in a fucking good book. And then we see the Sandor with
his grew from concrete type shit.
Wiggy Wom says or be anymore. So just to be anymore, just add on to his previous statement. She seen me beating it to Miss Kasparian. My wife knows her place in the hierarchy. That's good. I'm glad you're keeping the patriarchy alive in fucking New Zealand.
It's great, man.
Pull out that hawk on her ass. I know you get some American women to sit down real quick. You start screaming in their face like that.
Aoka, aoka, aoka.
Yeah, no, you'll start beating your limbs. You can still get an American woman to cook and clean if you take it there. So
got to use the tongue. Use the tongue. Make it look like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Always use the tongue, brother.
To get as much done as he possibly can, and to do it in a pretty blunt and often quite savage way, because he knows from his first term that if you don't do that, you won't get stuff done.
Well, I think I agree and disagree. I disagree because I believe that his draconian policies toward undocumented immigrants in this country, not the border. The border's fine, sealed the border, but the people who are here who have proven to be law-abiding and hardworking and God-fearing and family-oriented.
This Asian lady, she's shaking her head like, hell no, get him out of here.
Yeah, immediately I saw her. Yeah,
I'm not trying to be racist, but I will point out every single Asian I've seen speak on this topic, it's been universal. Get all the immigrants the fuck up out of here. I don't know. So just let me, and maybe it's an interesting thing because why I like recoil to the thought of like completely not like allowing like immigrants or not having some kind of like common sense immigration policy. It's like it's interesting. I wonder if that's different from people that come from a culture that is more homogenous. You know what I'm saying? It's like
exactly. Yeah.
So maybe she's just like, who gives a fuck about having like some kind of like this diversity bullshit or whatever the fuck culturalism bullshit you're trying to say. They're not supposed to be here. Get them the fuck out.
What I think, and tell me if you agree with this real quick, and then we can go back. If say you have two illegal citizens in the United States, that have a child in the United States, I feel like that should be an American-born citizen, even though the parents are not.
I agree.
Because they're born on U.S. soil. Do you agree or disagree with that?
So I agree with that. I think that's an American kind of not that we're like completely alone in that, but so I don't know. I've heard a lot of arguments on this. That's the only reason I'm kind of like I have the devil's advocate thing kind of like running in my head while I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying it like this, because I'm like, I do understand the other perspective of like at a certain point, is there a point where a culture or a country matures to where maybe the values of the country need to evolve with where the country is today. So maybe we really wanted to have that kind of policy because it was at a time when America was still trying to like build their population, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they needed people to come here and become Americans and be invested in the land in the long term. And is it possible that now we've reached a point at a country where we've matured to the point to where we're stagnant to a certain degree, and we're like, I don't know if we want to continue to take on. Now, I personally don't think that's as much of an issue, and I agree with you. I think that it makes sense to. I just have seen so many generations of people doing exactly what you just said, and then they end up being families that contribute to the society in amazing ways.
Exactly.
Like, so it's like my thing is if I'm looking just at it from results, I just don't see a reason to change that. I understand if there's somebody here illegally and there's some crime that they commit, and for some reason you find that they're illegal. I get not going like, okay, I can't see anything. No, just go ahead. You know what I mean? And ignoring it. I think we should address it. That makes sense. And get those people out of the country or put them in jail. You know, that's something that's a discussion to have, because I've also heard people that have said like deport them, and like say somebody commits a crime and does a crime to somebody here, I don't know, think about whatever it could be, rapes a person. Do we deport them and do they go back to their country possibly not to face justice for those crimes, or do we keep them here? But then we also we're shouldering the burden of, you know, paying.
And then you're paying for them to be fed and shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So I mean, they're complicated issues, but that's
a separate issue. I'm sorry, it hit my mind when that shit was being said.
No, it's totally interesting. I just know that I got my old lady.
Bro, I hope you're on my stream on the 14th is my birthday. So hopefully I'm going to have a stream going.
What day is that? Do you know?
Monday of next week.
Oh, brother, I should be fine there. I mean, yeah.
All right. No. So it'll be like probably Sunday going into Monday, and then Monday as well. So, you know, you'll have two chances for it. So.
Sunday going into Monday probably be even better for me, because I mean, I could still do Monday. It would just be that at a certain point, I got to hop off because the reason I got back into wrestling actually recently, it's funny because Sandor mentioned that, but growing up, I was always a big fan of wrestling, and I stopped really watching it for like fucking 10 years or whatever it was. But just having a daughter, and now I like want to get my daughter into it, so we'll watch the shit. So
I
gotta hop off here so I can watch Raw with her.
Well, see, check it. I'll be 32. You're barely younger than me, ain't you? I believe you're just a little bit younger, right?
Yeah, just a little bit younger. Yeah.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. I knew you were. I thought you were at least just a little bit. So that's what I'm saying. If you got a second, bro, like I said, so the 13th, so Sunday, this coming Sunday, and Monday will be where I'm live. If you can pop up, man.
Of course, brother.
Love to have you. I'll spread your channel. You know, I'll be able to get a lot of people to, you know, you'll probably hit another 10, 20 subs just off that shit. So
I love that. I'm trying to crack that 1,000, because I also have a conspiracy. I feel like YouTube doesn't really push our videos until we hit 1,000, because I was just thinking about it like from their perspective. If they can't monetize our videos and put commercials on it, then what benefit do they even have to push our videos to begin with? You feel
exactly. And then they make it real difficult once you start getting close.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm definitely sure on that. But so Sandor said, I'm an anchor baby. My dad got hired as they couldn't get any qualified printers here at the time, so my family moved here. Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that, bro. I'm really interested in your entire situation. And just New Zealand, something, I mean, I'm pretty ignorant to just I know the very basics of the culture, although it seems like KC is a little bit more informed and he's more tapped in with the people.
I know a little bit about New Zealand. I knew about the South Island, not the North Island. There's 2 islands in New Zealand. You got the North Island where Auckland is, and then you got the South Island where like Dunedin and Christchurch is.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't know, but I hear you guys are great at rugby down there. I've heard that. Wiggy Mohammed says it's tough. Citizenship itself needs to retain value. If it is given to everyone, then it's worthless. Birthright should be enshrined, but it's circumstantial. Should you reward law breaking? No, I think that's absolutely fair. And then ultimately, he also says, it's question of allegiance and assimilation. No, I absolutely agree with that as well. And I think that birthright, we're in agreement there. I think I even discussed this previously as far as like, I think that you can still facilitate some version of birthright citizenship. I know the issue is like, okay, what if their parents get deported, and then you have the babies in cages issue that from years ago that was really in the headlines, where families are getting separated and stuff like that. But I think that's where diplomacy kicks in. We as a country, we know this is especially going to be an issue with countries that share our same continent. So we need to have A1 diplomatic relations with all of those countries and have an understanding that, hey, if we find these people in our country, we may end up sending them back with an extra person with them. Now, that person is still going to be an American citizen and theoretically could return at any time and through any kind of means. You can send them back to live with their aunt so they can start going back to school immediately so they don't end up fucking up their education or whatever, that kind of shit. So I think 100% birthright, there should be some kind of principled stand where we're going to respect that. And I understand the parents then being the problem, but I think that's just a problem. That's what the politicians get paid to handle. Those are problems to solve and find a solution for. So that would be what I would suggest as far as that's concerned. And I'm just trying to reread it here, and I think you're right as far as like, should you reward law breaking? Absolutely not. And then does that end up making it harder for us to allow people that come through the correct path to achieve that citizenship? I think that's an absolutely great point. And then Wiggy Wom, to address your secondary point here, because I think it's a fair point, but I think it's a little overblown, because I've had these kind of debates with people on this channel. You'll see, I think it was the debate that I had with Cody a couple episodes ago. And your boyfriend Randy Orton just reversed 3 perfect flexes. Unsubscribe. No, bro, it's the apex predator. You should have never fucked with him. You should have never fucked with him, brother. I know if you're playing the story mode, you have a choice to like join him on 2K24, and he could be part of your stable. So you fucked up. You fucked up. You should have known who you were fucking with, bro. I hope he pulls out the punt right straight to your fucking head. Knock some fucking sense into you. But so this point right here, allegiance and assimilation. I agree with that. And I had that debate with Cody when we were talking about people who don't speak English and things like that. I just think that is overblown. You do end up having people who work jobs where it doesn't really encourage that kind of like growth and learn. But I've actually worked with immigrants who were illegal, and also some were legal, but I worked at a place where we helped those kind of people, and we helped them with jobs specifically. And they had to take programs in order to be involved in the nonprofit program. They literally had to take English classes and things like that. So I think you solve those kind of things through that. And then I went to school with a lot of kids that fucking were wizards with English and Spanish. And those kids end up growing up, and those are the kids that end up fully assimilating, and you wouldn't know any different. Mad Mexican kids I went to school with. Or I went to school in Florida as well. So a lot of Caribbean kids, people that came from Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, all that kind of shit. And they come here, and then, yeah, it's just a matter of like introducing them to our culture and giving them something they want to be a part of. And I think we actually have a really, we have something we have something worth buying into here. So I think we have to stand on that. We have to live up to that, though, is the thing. And we don't live up to that by kidnapping people off the street and then send them to fucking slave camps. So Sandor, just a shout out to you again on that. Your boyfriend Randy Orton. Like I said, don't fuck with Apex Predator. You fucked up, brother. And then Roman identity and civilization was fluid. If you fought for Rome, you were Roman. Once citizenship was given by decree, by Caracula, it made it worthless. No one wanted to fight for Rome after that. Yeah, hey, that's an interesting point. Let's see here. We had, and then Alice says, I mean, I guess, sure, if he wants to do away with birthright citizenship going forward, but he can't just take it away from people who got it before or leave people stateless. No, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
Go
ahead, brother. You're good.
You can say that in multiple aspects, like, and that's why when the United States, when you look at it and it's mainly Caucasian, right?
Yeah.
We overtook a society of their own. That's why Native Americans were called Native Americans, right? They were native to our land.
Or like you call them
natives,
Redskins, right?
Exactly, and they took that name away too, even though 90% of the Native American Council wanted that name still to be used.
Reinstate the name. God damn it.
You would think that they would do that, but no. But it's crazy because, like, I'm Irish. The majority of my ancestry is Irish. Okay, Irish, we were called, the ones that my family came to, at least, were indentured servants.
Yeah.
They use that as like just a crutch for slaves. When you look at the Northeast coast, when you look at Boston, when you look at Philadelphia, when you look at New York City, when you look at these cities, the majority of them were built by quote unquote indentured servants. And here's even better. The Irish indentured servants that came to the United States. See,
yeah,
in Africa, they took the kings would sell them for certain things that they could get in turn. So they could have salt, they could have a bunch of expenditures that they could keep, and they would sell people. The Irish didn't want to leave. We just got took. So they were like, all right, we're taking you with them. But we were just called indentured servants because we couldn't battle Ireland. Africa had a way bigger force than us. They could have fucked them up. They couldn't. Yeah. Ireland couldn't fuck them up. We didn't have near the population. So when we got there, if you look going down into South America and everything, man, dude, the Irish got completely trampled by shit.
Yeah.
Because once we started going down there, the whites were the quote unquote slaves. In the North, we were just indentured servants because they gave us a horrible room that a lot of us would die in and weren't fed enough and all this shit, but we'd still build the cities for you, get everything made. But we weren't doing anything besides just frailing out in the process.
Let me hop in here because I want you to educate me a little bit, because this is what you're saying is very interesting and a little foreign. Not completely though. Like, as far as like, I'm aware of the indentured servants, as far as like the when the Great Migration came through, and obviously all the Europeans came over, and I'm familiar with that. And I have some Irish heritage as well, so I mean, we can toast that a little bit. But so I'm not as familiar with the South American shit, so I will say I'm ignorant on that. So I want to look into that, and you might have a point there. But just when you're saying like when they enslaved Africans, and are you saying at the same time they enslaved the Irish?
The Irish were later, but we were later for the majority of the migration. But
I was misunderstanding right there then. Okay.
Yeah, we for the majority of it, we're later on.
Gotcha. Okay.
But while the slave trade was going on, the Irish were still getting shipped, but we were being southern pushed, not northern pushed.
Yeah, I want to look into that. I'm not as aware with that. You got me very intrigued by that. That's something a part of my own ancestry and history that I might be completely blank on. Because one main difference between the indentured servant and then the slave that I would say, and I don't know, you're probably aware of this even, is the nature of like chattel slavery is that you're a slave in your property and your children are slaves. and their children are slaves until I decide that they're not slaves anymore. An
Yep.
indentured servant, I don't think that your family is implicated.
Your family was not, but you were put in such shitty conditions that your children weren't supposed to live. So really, it didn't matter to an extent, because if you knew what most slave owners did, they were having children with them.
Yeah. No, I feel you. So here, let me get these comments because we got several.
I'm sorry. I ain't trying. Hey, bro,
it's good shit.
Tell me to shut
I'm loving it, brother. Yeah, no, it's interesting. And like I said, I'm for sure ignorant to the South American, like I guess the Irish slavery in South America. So I want to look into that. I'm just not familiar with it. But just as far as the distinction between indentured slavery or indentured servants and slavery, I was just making sure that we were clear on that, because I was thinking that was the difference. And I'll just clarify.
There was no like family involvement with into the same terminology as what.
And they couldn't just go, theoretically, they couldn't just go fuck your wife. Like your indentured servant, you'd have to like pay him to fuck his wife.
No, they didn't. They just wanted them to die off because they wouldn't keep them enough.
They wouldn't even fuck their wife. Sandor says, I play Universe. I move Thiefdom 1, 2, 3, baby. You hit him with that RKO out of fucking nowhere. Yeah, that's the thing. In order to beat him, you had to pull out the fucking ultimate technique. And what I don't play Universe as much. I think that's where you end up like you build the whole. I'll play the GM mode a lot, but it's like I think Universe is where you kind of like build the whole card. And I've seen people online get really into depth with that, where they like make entire fucking raw episodes, and it's like really involved. You have people running in and shit. I just don't know how you work it to that extent. It just seems very it's just like a deep game mode in my opinion. So I don't know. It kind of loses me there. I'd rather just like hop in, let me build the roster and shit. I still want to do the matches. I want to book shit. Let me book my champion. Also, they're bullshitting because they have in the next. I have 2K25. That's how much of a nerd I am, Sandor. And they don't actually have Penta on there. But I'm a big Penta fan now, and fucking they have them in the DLC, and they're really bullshitting. That's just another example of capitalism, just fucking the poor man. But Alice says, I get okay. So no, I read that. I guess if he wants to do away with birthright citizenship. So I appreciate you, Alice. And then Sandor here says, guess who's getting cut from the roster? Yeah, get him out of here. Send his ass to NXT to fucking RKO those losers and fucking obscurity. Wiggy Wom, I think the language one is also silly. Language is fluid. It evolves constantly. New languages are born. Word and languages are a way to perform surgery on the brain. It can help you understand. I hope that made sense when I said that, because I got distracted by somebody opening up the door.
No, it's good.
Okay. My bad. I was flowing. But one thing I want to ask you this real quick, Wiggy Wom, and you might have already, you probably haven't mentioned it in the comments, but I had on a argument on a previous episode, and I'm curious your opinion. We debated, like, would you ever be comfortable with the official language in America not being English? So, I mean, I'm just curious your opinion on that based off your standpoint here. I think the language one is silly, language is fluid. So just let me know your opinion on that. I'm just curious. Wiggy Wom also says, did you have something you want to say, by the way, Casey, real quick? I'm just hitting.
No, you're good.
Okay. New ideas and expressions. Wiggy Wom says. Alice McGee says, Wiggy Wom, sure, but I feel like the value is more on the status of the country it is from, and it's standing globally, so that your passport opens more doors. No. So citizenship and things like that. Sandor here says, anybody who doesn't think you're a Native American can talk to the AR-15. America. Yeah, honestly. And when you get citizenship, they equip you with one of those. So if you have an AR-15, you already know automatically they are American. Alice says, Wiggy Wom, I missed the language one. What is that about? Just people not assimilating and not being able to speak English, and like how much grace do you give those people essentially? Kind of, the people that you'll hear when we were talking about immigration, like, fucking, why do we even like cater to people that can't speak English and things? And I think the reason for that is because, there's a little bit of a grace period. You give people time to assimilate and all that. So Alice says, I think safety nets are needed, but also used by the government to keep people on them rather than working to get people off them. I think that's a completely fair take. And I think that is one of the insidious uses of them, but I don't think that's a reason. And you're not suggesting it because you're saying that we should have them, but it's not a reason to not have a robust safety net. So Mom here says language was in reference to assimilation.
Yeah, and I agree absolutely with that, because you know when the Irish came, and also when the Africans came, you got to think how many countries and different dialects in Africa there were. Hundreds. You're talking hundreds in Africa. Now in Ireland, you had different dialects of Gaelic mainly when they were speaking,
and English, for that matter.
Yeah, and English is hard enough to learn, but
yeah,
when you're hearing all the, you know, and that's why they would think a lot of the owners of the indentured servants or the slaves, not the slaves, but the indentured servants, you definitely got to put the quotes around.
Sure.
They would want to, they'd be like, what the hell are they talking about? Because they're speaking in native tongue still, because they don't know English yet. So they're speaking in Gaelic. They don't know how to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to figure out, they'll do like, they would write like what they're trying to tell you or speak to you. But if you don't understand it, you don't understand it. And you get fucking punished for that, because they're not understanding what you're saying. Like, hey, what do you want us to do? What they're saying, you have no clue what they're saying. That'd be like you telling them, you know, you're telling them what to do, right? They don't know what you want them to do because they don't understand you. So they're trying to do that when you're not doing it. Okay, so they're going to get disciplined in the process.
Yeah.
Do you see there's a big discrepancy? And my boy hit the nail on the head earlier. He said it with one main thing. The families for slaves, they were all indebted to the owners. Now with indentured servants, if something happened to the parents, the family could go their own way and they could do their own shit. But they have no clue what they're doing because they're living in ghettos. They have no clue what they're doing. I'll let you keep going because you have quite a few more comments. I don't want to.
You're cooking. I wanted this comment. I was actually not excited for the people of Ireland, but I wanted to say this because it kind of like
there it is. Yeah, it was founded as a slave trade city by the Vikings. Yes, it was. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah, thank you, Sandor, man, coming through with some fire shit, some fire information. So, someone told me immigrants who don't speak English shouldn't be able to get a license, and then just a laughing emoji. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, honestly, it's like, I get so clearly that person has never traveled abroad and rented a car. Yeah. So speaking to, I imagine the argument for that would be, well, if you don't speak English, then you can't read the road signs and things like that. So I mean, yeah, that's a great point from your perspective, Alice, and thank you for following that up with that. So clearly that person has never traveled abroad or rented a car. And then we got Wiggy Wom side tangent. When do you guys think the peopling of America happened? The old dogma was Clovis first. Okay, that is interesting. I'm going to try to come back to that. I'm going to try to catch up on all these comments real quick. But think about that real quick, KC, so we can have an answer for Wiggy Wom. That's an interesting question. So he said, when did the peopling of America happen, in our opinion? Sandor says,
people of America happened way before we got here. I'll tell you that.
Shit, yeah, no, I feel that. Sandor says, imagine trying to get a day off as an indentured servant. No, it'd be hell. It'd be hell. Imagine
that's the best comment of the night. Imagine trying to get a day off and as an indentured servant. Hey, 10 stars, man.
But at least the wife can take the kids out to a park. You know what I'm saying? So because most Americans hear socialism actually kind of sounds like what we deal with, by the way, already here. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, like dad's stuck at fucking work all goddamn day, and mom gets to, you know, either way. So because most Americans hear socialism and think it is communism, that is a reoccurring theme in the comment section tonight. I appreciate it, Alice. Absolutely. And I think there's definitely some truth to that. And that there is only capitalism and communism in the world. Yeah. No, I think there's definitely some truth to that, and people get kind of caught up in the kind of like binary there. So I grew up as, what the fuck is that supposed to say, brother? I don't know what the fuck. I'm Spanish. I don't even know, brother. I'm trying here as as a first language. Most people, Spanish right there. Okay, you came back through a Spanish. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I gotta just check the comments for you.
There it is.
You always make it right. My boy Ricky Wam, he always makes it right. So I grew up as Spanish as a first language. Most people here either speak it or understand it. I guess it gave me a different perspective on language. Yeah,
no, I think it's beautiful, dude. Kobe spoke 5 languages.
I think that's in response to what I asked him earlier, as far as like what's he feel about America, like the potential of America's official language, like
as one official,
and no longer speaking English, the majority. I mean, it's an interesting conversation.
It's not going to change though. English is always, I mean, until our death at least, English will be the majority speakers in the U.S.
We'll keep it here. We'll definitely keep it here, and we'll keep it alive. Here once.
Bro, you've had a steady stream this whole time, man.
Yeah, man, and I hate to say it, but I do got to shut it down here in a second because like I said, my old lady's letting me know that she's stuck right now. She got to go to bed. So I'm gonna get through these comments, I promise you. So Alice McGee says, just ignore most countries in Europe that function with capitalism, free market, etc., and also have socialized programs. So absolutely, that's fair. La Guinta de Tajas a la Victoria. All right, don't you want me to translate that, brother? I'll say it out loud, but I can't translate it for you. I know you know what it means, though. You might have had me say some crazy shit, but it's okay. It won't be the last crazy thing I say on the stream, or it might, because I'm gonna have to shut it down soon. So Wiggy says, or actually Alice says, "LOL, Wiggy. I was wondering after reading the first comment," and then Alice also says, "Yeah, I don't remember worship of presidents growing up like that, or growing up like today." That's true. We were talking about that earlier with just how people act and when they're around Trump and shit. Alice McGee says, and Egypt with National Socialism they had, and Americans hate both because they think it means someone gets something for free. God forbid. Yeah, as if, hey, you will benefit from it as well when you maybe least expect it. Sandor Clegane says, 5 languages, huh? One of them should have been helicopter manual. Jesus,
man, bro, come on, man.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the craziest thing I was gonna say.
Don't fuck with Kobe like that, bro. He had to get him on the court before that. Come on.
Okay. Sorry, my stream lagged. I was way behind. No, you were good. You're totally good. It's wait, who speaks 5 languages?
Well, Kobe
Bryant. Yeah, you're a sick man, Sandor, but you know, we love you. We love you regardless. You bring life to our life here. Wiggy here says Americans can't understand being a stakeholder to the nation, which is National Socialism. Yeah, Wiggy Wam I think Wiggy Wam might have said he was a National Socialist last time he was in here. I don't remember. But either way, I hate to say KC, brother, go ahead and let people know where they can find you. I hate to cut it short because we are vibing, but like I said, I'm getting a mean stare from my family. So at this point, I'm gonna get.
Nah, bro, do you, man? You can. I'll just say cheers and.
Well, I mean, King Cobra, they can go find you. Go find my man at King Cobra. Go follow his. No, your joke was good. I'm fucking with you. I love it, brother. We take the dark humor all day long. I'm glad that's one of the last things that'll be in my mind when I'm retelling this stream tomorrow. Oh, a Nazi. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The Nazi for National Socialist. I remember. That's right. That you did say that you're.
Hey, bro, I ain't giving shit to me, but I am telling you, when I popped up, man, your shit started popping, man. It's good to have a guest around you. I'm telling you, man.
I love you saying that. I love you saying that, but it was probably just your vibe, and also I'm gonna be honest, Sandor in the comments really making this shit move. Probably did a little something for the algorithm, and I appreciate that. But like I said, tomorrow, catch me. First off, so King Cobra, like I said, go find King Cobra 100%. Go fuck with my guy there at King Cobra. He has crazy streams, crazy long streams. This is like a light stream for him. He already did a stream, so this is like 6 hours on the stream today, vibing, and he's good. He could keep going. I'm the one I have to go because I gotta go take care of my child and shit. That's the crazy thing. Look, he's like, yeah, I can sit here and talk about this all night, baby. We can watch 6, 7 fucking mornings. I don't give a fuck. But like I said, duty calls. It is what it is. And then also I want to say Gates Open Media was in the comments. I really appreciate that. Go follow him as well. He also has a channel. And I just want to thank everybody that got in the comments. Sandor, you're the fucking man. And you came in here and you held it down like a fucking Haka chief from fucking Maori. All the fucking words that I know that are related to New Zealand. They apply. Honor. loyalty, perseverance.
He said more collaborations with you two.
More collaborations, and look, honestly, that will happen. That might happen that might happen later tonight if you're available tonight. Like I said, it'll be like 9-10 o'clock. I don't know what that is for your time, but we'll definitely lock in. And
we're
also
both on Eastern time, bro. We're good.
We're both on Eastern time. That's true. And Sandor, for that reason, tap in with your boy on social media, Sit and Politic everywhere. And that goes for everybody in here. Miss Alice coming in through with the insightful comments. I appreciate you and what you've added to this conversation tonight. Thank you so much. Wiggy Wom, again, thank you for you sticking through here. He's been on every stream, just firing it up and adding to the conversation and raising the IQ of the conversation. Fucking 300 points, honestly. Bro, hey, you're a Nazi. You would have been one of the good ones. Mr. H would have kept him around. Nah, Mr. H would have kept him around. Seriously, they would have done experiments and they would have wanted to clone your ass. Truly. So hey, you're a good example of what a man.
Out of here with that shit, bro.
I salute you. If eugenics ever comes around, you'll be number one person. I'm gonna fucking nominate you as tribute. And then M, also fuck with you for coming through here. Thank you. I don't want to forget my guy M that came through. Fact check, the libertarian that came through to school us a little bit on property rights and shit. Much love there. It's a lot of fun going back and forth. Hope you subscribe so we could kick it again. I think that might have been everybody, man. I appreciate y'all. Sandor, Wiggy Wom, Alice, special shout out to you, M, for all you guys for sticking around for a long stream, continuously getting in here and engaging. I'm gonna throw all these comments up because I'm not gonna let them not be on here in case somebody wants to see them. You feel what I'm saying? But other than that, yeah, I gotta go be a dad. Go find me on all platforms. Sit and Politic. That is me. I am him on there. Twitter is a good one. Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you guys call it. Whatever you guys call it in the land next to the land down under. But yeah, go find me on there so we can chop it up. Wiggy Wom, great to see you. Tomorrow, do a good deed tomorrow. 100%. You do a good deed as well, Wiggy Wom, and do that good deed by tuning in to Sit and Politic one more time, showing some love. Spread the love. We're out of here. I'm out. Much love. Hey, KC, you're the man.